What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Cleveland, this is week 282 of the Voice of the Fans podcast of this iteration of the Voice of the Fans podcast. So, fans, you want to give yourself a round of applause for tuning into the show. We got a new start to the show, so let's go ahead and get it going. So, Cleveland, we got a lot of NBA action going on right now. This is the NBA season, March, leading into the NCAA tournament. I mean, what's your bracket's going to look like? Are you going to fill out the women's bracket? Are we focusing on the women's bracket this year or the men's bracket? Which bracket do we focus on? Because this has been a weird couple years for men's basketball in the NCAA, right?
Yeah, so I got to focus on the men's bracket and just try and find, those upsets, find those,
Just
creases
do
in
the
the
best you
cracks,
can.
man.
Or just do the best you can, huh?
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, well, we're gonna see how things play out. We're gonna get some boxing talk in this week. You got obviously going to talk about the NFL, kind of not quite free agency, but there's been a lot of cuts. There's been a lot of cuts in the NFL. Some players didn't make the bubble going into this year, so we're going to talk about that as well. And then obviously it's heavy on the NBA, Cleveland. So let's get right into it. Each and every week, fans, being March 6, 2024, week 282, um, week 282 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. So each and every week we play our numbers game, Cleveland. When you think of the number 6, who wore that jersey the best? Or who come to your mind first?
Cam, when we talk about the number 6, who comes to mind first is, the late, great Bill Russell.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I always feel bad when this number comes up because you always try and rake me over the coals with regards to who wore it the best. And
And
that
there's
being
only one answer, really. There's only one answer, really.
and who wore it the best being King James when he wore
No,
number 6.
and that ain't the right answer. That ain't the right answer, sir.
Especially after getting a 40,000 points. So that's ridiculous.
So I take it you never heard of anybody, the guy named Julius Dr. Urban. You never heard of that guy.
I have his jersey hanging up in my closet right now as we speak.
So how can you possibly say that dude, that fraud in Los Angeles who wore it better? How could you possibly say that?
Well, you can't call someone a fraud when he's the leading scorer in the history of the National Basketball Association, has 40,000 points, and has played for the championship 10 times. It's not a fraud.
So let's move on to number 82. We're gonna circle back to your guy LeBron, and we're gonna circle right back to LeBron. But when you think of the number 82, Cleveland, who wore that jersey number the best, or who could you mind first?
On both accounts, I'm going to have to go with my guy up in Pittsburgh, John Stallworth.
John Stallworth. Better than Ozzie Newsome?
4 Super Bowls for John Stallworth and Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Ozzie Newsome, how many Super Bowls he have? Didn't he?
As a player, he has 0. As an executive, he has 2.
Okay, and did he draft some Hall of Fame players? I mean,
his drafting prowess was incredible. But we're not talking about the way he drafts. We're talking about what he did, with the number on. So I'm still have to stick with Stallworth on
that. Have you heard of a guy named Paul Scanzi? Have you heard of him?
I have heard of Paul Scanzi, man. Incredible with the University of Washington.
Another UW guy that gets overlooked by the guy who claimed to walk the campus in Montlake. Cleveland, so you brought it up, man. You brought it up. You started off the show. You couldn't wait to talk about your guy breaking the 40,000 point mark in a loss against the Denver Nuggets. But LeBron James, 40,000 points. Does that mean that really doesn't mean anything though, right? Because I mean, he already was a NBA's leading scorer of all time. So, what does 40,000 mean to you, if anything more?
That he's just putting the record further and further out of reach. And then I hear, people like yourself saying, what does it mean? Well, it means he's putting the record further and further out of reach. I mean, I know you don't really like that dude, and that's unfortunate. I don't know what your
I'm not liking him.
opinion is against
It's-
him.
I don't got nothing against him. I don't have anything against LeBron.
Okay, so then you set the question out well, what does it really mean that he
What
scored
does it mean?
40,000 points?
Yeah, what does it mean? He's already the leading scorer. It's just a number. I mean, you guys are
So
trying
what does it mean that Aaron Rodgers throw for 80,000 yards? I mean,
it means absolutely nothing.
I mean,
Come on, there's a little different. There's a difference between Aaron Rodgers and LeBron James. Even you have to admit that.
My point is that you're acting like these additional accolades don't mean anything because he's already accomplished these things, and no, he's just putting the record.
He was already the lead. He was already the NBA's leading scorer. It wasn't like 40,000. Now he becomes the NBA leading scorer. He was already the NBA leading scorer 1,600 points ago. So now that he added 1,600 more points. We're gonna talk about this. He just extended that lead, but that doesn't. I'm not sure 40,000 means anything in particular. I mean,
it's just the next milestone and threshold in a historic career is what it is.
Are you gonna stop the game when he gets to 45,000?
Yeah,
or potentially, 50,000.
Every milestone, every threshold.
You're gonna stop the game and give him a game ball and memorialize the moment when he does that as well.
45,000 for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that being said, Cleveland, since you want to stop the game and give some memorialize some moments, Cleveland, what are your top LeBron James moments in his career, in this quest to become the NBA's leading scorer? What would be your? I got a few moments that I kind of identify, but what would you be your? I mean, since you're. Do you have a LeBron jersey? You spotting all those jerseys that you have in your closet. Do you have a LeBron jersey?
I do have the LeBron jersey, yeah.
What do you have? The 23, the 6? Which one do you have?
6.
And for Miami?
No, Lakers. White and light blue. It's filthy.
Those are Minnesota's colors.
No. White and light blue. It's they wore that throwback retro several times.
Those are Minnesota colors, the light blue with the white trim. Anyway, what was your favorite moments of LeBron's career?
Well, I mean, favorite moment of LeBron's career, ironically,
most memorable favorite, either one. What was your most memorable?
Ironically, was on defense. I mean, the chase down when he, pinned the ball to the backboard and then took it back and scored. I mean, in the game 7, that's just heroic type stuff. So that has to be number one.
Okay, that's number one moment.
Oh,
that was the number. That was his signature moment.
That is the signature moment for sure.
Okay, you only got one moment for LeBron.
Well, in his
20-year career, you only got one moment for LeBron.
There was a time that he went off in Detroit and scored 43 points and like 27 in the fourth quarter. It was amazing. There was the time where he was down, having to go back to Boston and went off for 45 and 15. These are. There was the time that, he pulled the Los Angeles Lakers out of the fire and took them to the NBA Finals in the bubble.
Oh, the bubble. When they had 3 months off in the middle of the season? That one time?
Was that a different protocol than anyone else in the league, or they were all doing the same thing, right?
I mean, did they have 3 months off in the middle of the season?
Did they? I mean, did the whole world have to take a breather? I mean, why... single it out like just LeBron had to do this. I don't understand.
I mean, that's that's what happened, right? What do
Yeah,
you
the
mean,
whole
why
world
did
had to shut down for a little bit and get well.
you- Um, hmm.
What are your favorite LeBron moments, Cam?
My favorite LeBron moments. You mentioned one of them. It's not even the most favorite. It's the most memorable moments. Is the 29 points he scored in that final game against the Detroit Pistons,
Mhm.
2007. That that was a I mean, that was pretty awesome. I was happened to be at a bar watching that game, and like they couldn't stop him. That was number one. Um, but then I went in. So I had Christmas Day 2013 had tickets to the Lakers versus the Miami Heat and was late to the game. Late to the game. It was I said I got there probably a couple minutes, and I usually, if I'm going to the game, especially paying those prices, I want to be I want to see the player introductions. You know what I'm saying? Paying those prices to
Warming
see
up,
uh,
yeah.
what 100 level at the Staples Center for a Christmas Day game with the Lakers and the defending champion Miami Heat. Yeah, I was not happy that I was late. But I come into the arena and we come in again, there's the 100 level, so we have to come in and kind of walk down to our seat. We're probably these seats were excellent, man. I don't know if I ever showed you pictures from these seats. Were probably 15 rows up, um, just a little to the right of the or to the left, a little to the left of the backboard, just 15 rows up. Great seats, and so we're coming down right, and this was the Miami Heat played for the Miami Heat with the second year with him and Dwayne Wade. My goodness, and it those those years with Miami and him and Dwayne Wade healthy were unfair. They were virtually unfair to the league because of the I mean the quickness, the length, the reach they had. Like they had like 4 steals in 6 plays. Like as the Lakers are trying to do something, LeBron between the two of them, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade had like 4 steals in multiple plays, just like back to back to back to back to back, and jumped out to a early 10 to 12 point lead against the Lakers, and it wasn't pretty. Now I'm not a Laker fan, so I couldn't root for the Lakers. I was more of a Dwayne Wade fan, but then I wasn't too happy that LeBron went down there to jump ship. So it was a game that I went to just enjoy the NBA basketball. I couldn't really root for anybody, but that game, just watching these two athletes on a court on a basketball court do their thing was really that like sticks in my head. Him in Miami, seeing what they were doing on the court, his athleticism matched with Dwayne Wade's his prowess like against Kobe, who was Kobe's trying to do something, but he really can't because he's past his prime. And there, it it was a sight to see. So that was probably my most. That's definitely my most memorable moment. Because I to see that to have that vision to see that physically see that and see what they're doing on this 95-foot court that's what 27 foot wide, and how these guys just that was really an unfair advantage that those two guys, Dwayne Wade and LeBron James, in your back court, front court, wherever LeBron he could play wherever he wanted to play, and that was defense. That was some great defense at its finest. That was very impressive. My other moment, I mean, it's not one singular moment. As you mentioned, as you like to say, the guy played 20 years. I mean, just and his durability. Just when you think of LeBron James, you got to have to think about his durability. Obviously, leads to the longevity and what he's doing today. So it's not a singular. I can't just say one singular moment, but that's the most probably impressive part.
Oh, and
The-
Cam, I'm so sorry. I mean, because you don't really like to give LeBron credit, and that's why you can't.
I'm giving him credit. What are you talking about?
You mentioned one game that you went to, and that's really kind of the reason that you give him credit because you went to the game. But his first game against Sacramento. Do you look like a kid out of high school? Not really. Not really.
Okay. Cleveland. Was that impressive? Sure, but it's what we've seen for 20 years out of LeBron. So you can't say that. I mean,
it's way more impressive when you do that coming out of Columbus and just never played professional basketball ever, and it didn't look like it.
He was a man child. He was a man child. He was a man child. He was a man child.
Dunking on grown ass man, controlling the game. It's like, oh no, he belongs here right now. Like game one.
No, he was a man child. He was a man child. So, that was he was a man child. So that was bananas. That was bananas. But no, I mean, again, to physically watch him was to physically see what he was doing in person. I mean, just took it to another level. And I've seen him a few different times since then. But just that him with the Miami Heat and what Wade was doing was, I mean, that was very, very impressive. Cleveland, it's going to take a tremendous, I mean, if everybody breaks that record, if he hasn't extended that to be unbreakable, right? It's going to take some time for anybody to do that. Luka going to have to score 27 points for the next per game for the next 20 years. I don't see that happening because I don't think Luka is going to stay that healthy for that long. Edwards going to have to go crazy for 20 years. Although Anthony Edwards is nice, he didn't come in with the ferocity and the fervor and the consistency in his first few years that LeBron James came out of high school with, right? And I mean, Wemby has a chance, but is Wemby going to be a scorer like that? Is this a record that was not going to be broken?
Yeah. Starting to come to you, Cam. Start to come around. Understanding what's going on here?
No, I mean, we're talking about it. Is this something that this record is going to be unbeatable? Is this because you don't? I mean, who else has a chance? KD has to play. KD would have to play, I think, 7 more years at 28 points a game. I don't think KD has 7 more years.
You're saying these things, not understanding that LeBron's not done yet. So he's just going to push the record further and further out of reach. Yeah.
I mean, but he only got 2 more years, right? Once Bronny comes in, once Bronny gets drafted by the Nets, and
LeBron James has 3 to 5 years left, depending on what he wants to do.
3 to 5. I mean, he could play 5 years, but he won't be at the current pace that he's at.
Well, I mean, he might be at 20 points a game. That's still a pretty good pace, right?
We'll see. But it depends on if Bronny gets drafted by the Nets and he plays in Brooklyn. I mean, that might be something that happens, right?
No.
What do you mean no? He's already said it. He's gonna go play with Bronny. What do you mean no?
Bronny hasn't shown the ability to be an NBA player just yet.
What are you talking about? He said 2 months ago that he laughed. You don't remember his tweet? Lightweight He can play he can play on any team. He's better than half the players in the NBA today. You don't remember that?
Yeah, LeBron is a great player, one of my favorites, but he's not an NBA executive, and you haven't heard that from any NBA executive at this point. And from his performances in his freshman year in college, he's not an NBA player.
Wait, how
By
you
any
gonna say
stretch of the
LeBron?
imagination.
How you gonna say LeBron is not an NBA and executive when he coordinated the whole Miami Heat thing? He got Bosch and Ray Allen down in Miami. He got your guy the shooter. He got the shooter Mike Miller to go to Cleveland. He got Kevin Love to come back to Cleveland. What are you talking about? How are you gonna say he's not an NBA executive? He got your guy
Yeah,
Anthony Davis.
that's not assessing talent in college. That's assessing talent that's in the pros. He already know those guys, so he already knew what he was getting. No one in their right mind is going to pick Bronny this year, so he has to go back for a sophomore year. I mean, someone will do it just to kind of see if they can entice, LeBron to, make really crazy moves, or entice the Lakers to make really crazy moves to acquiesce LeBron. But that's all it would be. It would not be about ability right now. He's not an NBA player right now. Clearly.
Wow. I mean, I better don't say that too loud. LeBron's gonna be a little disappointed in.
LeBron's
in
already
what
said
he did.
he's already
And
said
what he did.
let him be a kid. Let him experience college life. Let him grow up at his own pace. Just rush him a little bit.
Listen to you. Listen. When you guys had this conversation,
LeBron had it with the whole world. I mean, what are you talking about? He already said that.
Listen to you, boy. I tell you what, LeBron say something, you just gonna flow with the wind, aren't you? You gonna jump on board whatever he says, huh?
Bronny's had some health issues, some setbacks. I mean,
oh my goodness.
Some time to come into
now he's talking about his health issues. He's at USC on the college campus. He might well stay there like
it's an adjustment period. It's adjustment process, Cameron.
Next thing you're gonna say, you're gonna give me the Matt Leinart situation. He's on a USC college campus. Who would want to leave that college campus to go anywhere?
No, he's ready to leave whenever the time comes. Oh no, he's more than ready to go. It's just not today. It's not this year, and we'll see what next year looks like.
LeBron will tell you anything, and you fall right for it. Cleveland, the Celtics blew out the Warriors by 50 over the weekend. Mm-hmm. Did you see that?
I did not see it. I heard about the destruction.
And then they turn around and lose to the Cavaliers the very next game. Like
back to back, it's hard.
That is the exact reason. I mean, they blew them out by 50, and they do have one of the highest point differentials. I think it's top 5 in NBA history, actually. The Celtics do this season. But then they turn around and lose to the Cavaliers, who Donovan Mitchell and Mobley, and although Mobley went out, Mobley left that game with the injury. That's the reason. That's the exact reason I have no faith in what the Celtics are doing. Zero faith in what the Celtics doing going into the playoffs. Like, they're gonna have to prove to me that they're really championship caliber team. Blow out a playoff team. Blow out a team that's actually in the playoffs and not borderline playing tournament. Blow one of those teams out, because when you put some pressure on them, you see what happens to them. What do you make of Jason Tatum having one of the lowest? He shoots 32% in clutch time this season. Does that concern you if you're the Boston Celtics?
No, not at all. They've been having it on cruise control. They've been trying to find the right gear where they dominate but don't have to exert all of their energy, because they understand it's it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And once they get to the playoffs, they'll turn it up to the next level. Not worried about it.
See, Cleveland. That's how I know you haven't watching the Celtics play, because I've been telling you for 2 seasons now that the Celtics, to use your favorite term, one of your favorite terms, is the Celtics play with their food. They play with their food far too often, and now you're still saying it's the regular season and they'll turn it on in the playoffs.
Right.
No, they won't turn it on in the playoffs. They don't have that. They've shown to me certainly that they can't find a switch when they look for it. They can't find it. They can't find that on and off switch. As they let the poor Atlanta Hawks take them to 6 games in the playoffs just last season, which shouldn't have happened. They had no business happening. But the Celtics playing with their food.
So Cam, I'm sorry, I'm confused. So 2 years ago they got to the NBA Finals. Last year they got to the Eastern Conference Championship.
And what happened in the Eastern Conference? What happened? You remind me, since you're confused.
Lost in game 7.
They what?
So you don't think they're going to get back there again this year? Is that what you're saying?
I said I wouldn't put money on it. That's what I'm saying. Number one. And remind me of what happened in the Eastern Conference Finals. How did that series go?
They lost in the 7th game.
Okay, but remind me of how the series went.
They went down 0-3. They were playing with their food.
They lost 3 in a row. They lost 3 in a row to the inferior Miami Heat. Is that what happened?
They finally did focus up and got to game 7 at home where they were supposed to take care of business. Their best player got hurt a minute into the game. That's what happened. Which is consequence of playing with your food, which I don't like.
And so okay, thank you for bringing that. Thank you, Cleveland, for reminding the fans that you actually do pay attention to what happens in the basketball. So we noticed that there were some consequences of them playing with their food. You brought it up. You mentioned it yourself. And so we come into this season and we see the same thing happening. They have a big point.
Don't they have the best record in the NBA?
They absolutely do. So how do you lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers?
So how's that playing?
Going out of team by 50.
They have the best record in the NBA.
Next game and lose to the Cavaliers.
Back-to-back games. Back-to-back games, and it meant more to the Cavs than it means to the Celtics. They're on, like I said, they've got it on the 80% level. That's as much as they're gonna give it till it gets ready to get going, man. 3-4 weeks from now.
You have confidence that they're gonna turn it up. You display that confidence in that turn it up, but we might have to put something on it. We might have to put something on it, whether they can just flip that switch, whether they can flip that switch and turn things on. We might have to put something on there. So you keep that energy right now, right there. Excuse me. The Suns went over the Nuggets last night. Does it say more about the Suns or more about the Nuggets?
I don't think it says too much about either. I don't think the Nuggets are taking them too serious. But the fact that the Suns could, play at a high level and, kind of, let the, defending champions know that, hey, man, you got to play your best game to beat us or close to it. I mean, yeah, okay. I see you. I hear you.
So you laughed at me. In fact, shout out to the guys at H&B Media TV, actually. Thomas and Pavy. All you guys laughed at me when I said Grayson Allen was a good pickup for the Phoenix Suns. Well, Grayson Allen is shooting nearly 50% from 3. Grayson Allen has been consistently their 3rd best scorer on the team. Are you ready to give Jason Allen some credit? Or Grayson Allen, some credit?
Yeah, he can shoot the ball. No doubt about it.
Oh, that's all you want to give him if he can shoot the ball?
That's all I'm going to give him.
Wow. He still got work to do, huh?
Not in that department. I mean, if you leave him wide open, I did watch the Phoenix LA game, and I got a little tired of seeing him just wide open. And
you saw Grayson Allen in your eye.
I didn't leave wide open, not at all. Of course, it is the regular season, and we will shift
here we go.
Playoffs here pretty soon.
Here we go.
Runs out there and starts tripping people again and having those.
I mean, come on, that hasn't happened since college. That happened. That hasn't happened,
pros. You try to trip a dude and almost got his because On the show, I'm not going to say what happened, but yeah, it almost was bad for him.
It had at one time in his rookie year.
I don't know if it was his first or second year, but hey, man, I think they had to take him down the tunnel, for his own.
We can't do the. You can't. No, he knew coming out of.
Well, he still was tempting fate a few, at least once. I saw it. It was like, okay, try that, try that tripping stuff in the
NBA. Nah, Grace. I haven't seen that, man. You might have to send me the clip on that one because I haven't seen it. He's been on his best behavior.
The hard fouls. Who's the dude who hard fouled last year? Like, oh wow, that almost hurt right here too.
Well, there's some residual. There's some residual impact now. Again,
got a little track record, a little history of doing weird stuff. Yeah.
He doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. That's for sure. That's for sure. However, all that aside, I think he was a really good pickup for the Suns, who obviously was forced to fill out their roster. I mean, if you and I could shoot over 35%, we'd be on the team. They might have called us up because they really needed some bodies out there. And I like the grit. I like the grit. Again, he has to keep it in check. Like I said, he don't get a benefit of the doubt, but he has a little grit because Devin Booker don't have that grit. Bradley Beal don't have that grit. Kevin Durant certainly don't have that grit. So at least there's one person on the team who does have a little greediness to him, and maybe the NBA doesn't like him too much, but still he has some grit that he can apply to the opponent that the opponent has to at least consider. So I thought that was a really good pickup. And although the Suns are just disappointing overall, because I don't know how many games have we seen that trio of Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant play. Out of what we are 56 games, they probably played a total of 20 games together this season. Kind of disappointing where the Suns are. But do you think the Suns can make any noise in the playoffs? Are they? Right now they're sitting at the 6th seed. They'll be playing Denver in the first round, and that'll probably be it for them.
Right now they're at the 6th, but who knows how that whole thing's going to shake out. They absolutely can make some noise in the playoffs if they're healthy.
Right now they're at the 6th. I mean, are they going to get? Are they going to get to?
I mean, what are they, like a game behind?
They're a game behind your New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh, okay. So which one of those teams you got more confidence in, the New Orleans Pelicans or the Phoenix Suns?
I mean, Zion has played a bunch of games this year. Zion and Ingram.
Zion story? Oh, do tell.
Zion
Tell me all about it.
I mean, I know you don't like Zion. You surprised they're even in the 5th seed. Listening to Cleveland, you're surprised they're even in the 5th seed right now.
Can they hold it?
They're 7-3. They're 7-3 their last 10 games, where Phoenix is 5-5.
Okay. So can they hold that 5?
Right now, out of the top, what 3? They have the best break in the top 3 to 17, 3 to 10 teams. So that's 7 teams. They're tied at 7-3. They're one of the hottest teams. I mean, we have to see. That's yet to be determined on that. But
that means you don't know. You did not see it.
Right. As of right now, they're playing solid basketball. As of right now, they're playing solid basketball. So you can't hate. You can't hate on the.
Can they hold on
the
to
Hornets? The Hornets are not allowing you to hate on them right now. You have no validity to hate on your Zion.
You're calling by their right name. They're the Pelicans, man.
The Pelicans.
That's how much you don't even know about this team. That's how little confidence you have about it. Bet you won't put no chum on it. Bet that.
No chow. No,
you don't put no chow on it.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Dial that back a little bit, homie. Oh, that
I,
Pelican.
so I wanted to, obviously we didn't do our Sunday special this past week, but I wanted to talk about Chet versus Wemby, that rivalry that they have brewing, that they played last Thursday night, I think. Um, I mean, in good conscience, I can't talk a lot about Wemby right now because Alfred Sengun gave him 45 and 16 last night. Although the Houston obviously lost to Clippers tonight, but the Chet Wemby rivalry. When's the last time there's been a must see TV rivalry? Because that rivalry, Chet and Wemby, is must see TV right now. When's the last time we've seen a must see TV rivalry like this between two guys who seemingly don't like each other and go all out against each other? It's been a long time since we've seen, and especially in this uh, format of the NBA, where some guys don't like each other and they want to go at each other. When was the last time that you can remember?
Can't remember it being quite this adversarial. And trying to think of just with regards to players that kind of came out in the same class or very
Close together.
close together, and kind of have been pitted against one another. I mean, that happens every once in a while. The class of 03, they're all just so close. I mean, they're always just like, already like, boys, and it was never like that. So you can't really talk about them.
I mean, Iverson and Ray
Iverson and
Allen.
Ray, there
I
was a
mean,
little
they had,
bit of, I need to, a little bit of something to prove. A little
yeah,
bit
they
of,
were going at each other a little harder since they were going at each other in college. Ray never felt that he got the recognition that he deserved. I mean, rightfully so. It was all about Iverson in college and going in the NBA. So rightfully so, Ray had something to prove there. But that was more one sided though. I don't know that Allen Iverson was looking at that as, I'm trying to prove something against you guys. Maybe in college, but
a little bit of
not.
Shaq and Dave, a little bit of Shaq and Hakeem, in the middle. But
I can't remember when there's been one like must see TV, like Wemby and Chet is must see TV. But again, this kid Alfred Sengun, when he puts up 45 on you and shakes you up and then dunks on him like Wemby a couple times, like that took some of the luster off of Wemby. What you think?
Wemby, I thought he started to put it together late in the season and starting to look like what we thought he was going to be very early in the season. It's taken 60 or so games to kind of get to this point, but I think we're starting to see the jump off of what he's capable of doing, and especially if the other teammates fall in line and understand what a talent that they're playing with, and how to get the highest and best use out of him. Ceiling is the limit, right? And we're starting to see a lot of that more, later than sooner.
So maybe this shows my ignorance in regards to the NBA, and I hate to even bring this up, but the Atlanta Hawks, who's been looking terrible, you know what I think of them, and that's why I think of it when I say the Boston playing with the Atlanta Hawks is I even think even less of Boston by tinkering around with the Atlanta Hawks. But the Atlanta Hawks, who is the Atlanta Hawks? Who's their lead guard? Who's been their lead guard?
Trae Young.
And Trae Young, and what has Trae Young done? Has he done anything impressive for you in the NBA?
Yeah, he took his team to the Eastern Conference Finals.
That one time 5 years ago, when,
I think it was 3 years ago, but yeah.
What do you think of the Wembanyama and Trae Young duel?
No, Trae needs to much.
Trey does average 10 points, 10 assists a game, nearly for his career. He shoots a lot. He shoots way more than I'd like to see. But what do you think about that duel? Do you like that duel? I've been.
No,
I don't care for
Wemby's got to be the man.
But Trey can get on the ball, and they need some.
We don't need a Westbrook Durant controversy again. We're not gonna banter back and forth about this.
So he says no. Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you. But we had a heated discussion a couple nights ago about. I'm told Trey's ability to pass the ball makes him a good fit. Excuse me. That's what I'm told. Excuse me, fan. I'm told Trey Young's ability to pass the ball while still averaging assists because he's a decent shooter, can draw the defense out. It'll open it up a little bit more, and he's able to get Wemby the ball. That make it be a good fit. They got some work to do in the next couple of years. In this offseason, in fact, they gotta. I can't even say next couple of years because they got to make some moves, man. They got to get some guys around him, and as we talked about, who know who he is, who know who. We got to get some guys who know who Wembanyama is and who he can be to help this kid out. Because right now, with all of these guys out here looking for an NBA contract, it's looking like your summer league game. What you call summer league? Would you call summer league?
Glorified scrimmage.
It looked like all these guys are on a scrimmage looking for a place to play next year, or trying to prove that they can play with Yami, Victor. They're trying to prove that they deserve to be in the NBA, and it's not a good look for Wemby, where he has to kind of do everything he's doing essentially on his own, and he's not getting enough help for a squad. So that's kind of concerning to me. I think that they really need. It's on Pop in that front office to get him some legitimate.
Hey man, don't talk about your dude like that, man. Slow down.
I'm just saying, I'm putting the pressure on Pop. Pop, it's on you guys. No, I'm putting the pressure on him. I can do that. I can say that, and I wish was there and say, Pop, what's taking you so long? Because you guys, with your coaching ability, they shouldn't have less than 20 wins in the season.
Okay, well,
3/4 of the way to the season.
If you get a top 4 pick, do you keep it or do you trade it?
You get a top 4 pick. No, they're gonna have a couple picks actually. They're gonna have
but their record's not good. So if they get a top 4 pick, you keep it, you trade it.
But what do you? They're gonna have some first round picks.
Cameron,
they're gonna have
a top 4 pick. Do you keep it or trade it?
Why would you trade it? They need talent.
Yeah, because you can get talent for the number 4 pick in the draft, right? I said top 4. I didn't say like it could be even better than that. I just started out at number 4.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they need a guard. They need some wings. So if there's a guard that you like in the top 4 pick, go after it. I mean, they can't go get. This is why I don't understand why they got rid of DeJounte Murray. Like, was that a salary dump? I don't know. Like they need that type of guard who's able to control the pace of the game, who's able to make some passes, who's able to get Wemby the ball and can score just a little bit, play some defense. They need that type of guard. I mean, preferably they have somebody who can shoot it better, a little bit better from deep, but they need that type of all around guard for him. So it'd be. I don't know. Do you send a number 1? Did you send that top 4, top 5 pick back to Atlanta for DeJounte? Or you go for somebody else?
No, it's got to be way better than that, right? You're giving up the top 4 pick in the draft.
Well, yeah, you need a little.
I mean, example, Luka Doncic was the number 5 pick, right?
Oh well, I mean, that's a duel. that's a deadly duel. I give up 2 number 1s for Luka. And I probably do 2 or 3 number 1s for Luka, but they're not going to. The other team in Texas aren't going to do that. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I'm putting the pressure on Pop in the front office of San Antonio because they should be in playoff contention next season. In playoff contention, not the play-in, playoff contention. And that's about you guys building around Wemby. Now that you see what he can do, you need to get some players to build around him and put him in that playoff consideration. What's up, Boost?
What's up,
Thanks for
Boost?
big guy. Boost, while you're here, who do you think should be who would you team up to put with Victor Wembanyama in San Antonio? What guard would you get? Cleveland, just a little trivia question for you. Who averaged the most blocks per game in their rookie of the year season in the NBA? Who was that?
That was Emeka Okafor.
Oh yeah, Emeka Okafor. Did Emeka Okafor win the rookie of the year?
What's that?
I don't know about that one. You did going deep. No, that was not Emeka. I'll give you a
Okay, well, there's a chance. I'm gonna say D Rob. I'm gonna say David Robinson.
That's exactly who it was. David Robinson. How many blocks did he average?
I want to say 3.1, 3.2, somewhere in there.
3.9, right at 4, just below 4. Yeah, just below
4 blocks a game. Good Lord.
I mean, he came in, you know, obviously he was a grown man when he came in the league at 26. Yeah, did 4 years. He did 4 years. He did 4 years of college.
You did 2. You did 2.
No, he did the 4 years of college, right? And then he went to the and then he did his
they only made him do 2.
He only did his 2 years in the Navy.
He was 25. They only made him do 2. So he was like 24.
So 24, okay.
He like 26, 27 years. No,
I say 26. I mean, okay, I was a couple years off. Okay. So Cleveland, right now in the play-in tournament in the Western Conference, Sacramento, Dallas, the Lakers, and Golden State. Sacramento is 8 games back, Dallas 9 games back, Lakers 9.5 games back, Golden State 10 games back. Utah is 15 games back in 11th place, so we know they're not going to make it in. Phoenix is 7 games back. They're at the 6th seed. Sacramento, Dallas, Lakers, Golden State. Do any of these teams make it out of the play-in tournament?
Well, 2 of them have to make it out of the play-in tournament. What do you mean?
Well, do they make it before the season starts? Do they make it out of before the playoff starts? Excuse me.
Oh, I mean that's hard to say. I mean it's so closely.
Well, that's the question I'm asking you.
So okay,
the Sacramento, Dallas.
Who was number 6? Who was number 6?
Phoenix is number 6 at 7. Your New Orleans Pelicans are number they're number 5 is 6 games back. So they're 2 games back, 2 games ahead of Sacramento, 3 games ahead of Dallas, 3.5 games ahead of the Lakers.
Okay, so to answer your question, the Lakers have the best chance of doing that, but we're not 100% sure if they will or not.
So Sacramento and Dallas, they're stuck in the 7th and 8th seed.
They're stuck in the play-in conundrum. Yeah,
but they're ahead of the Lakers. You think the Lakers can make it out of there? You got the Lakers make it out.
They have the best chance of the teams aforementioned to make it out of that. Yeah.
How do you give the Lakers the best chance to over Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, and those Sacramento Kings, who I remind you were legit number 2 seed in the West last year?
Actually, they weren't a legit 2 seed, Cam, because they lost in the first round. That's not a legit 2 seed.
They lost to the big brothers, man. They can't hold that against them.
Oh man, are we making excuses for what? You know how ruthless I get when it comes to playoff time. Yeah, no excuses, no explanations, man. We don't make excuses for why you lost in the playoffs, just that you lost.
No. So you see Phoenix sliding or New Orleans sliding? Who's going to open up the spot for the Lakers that you say is going to make it in there?
The New Orleans Pelicans. If it were to happen, I mean, it sounds like a lot to do. And it's a lot of beating up of each other just to get out of that that scrum. But I mean, who has the best chance of doing it? The Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, it's not too long. It's only 4 or 5 more weeks of the season left. So, in the Eastern Conference, Philly has fallen to 7 seed. They're 13 and a half games back. Indiana's 14 and a half game back. They're number 8. Chicago's number 9 at 19 games back. Atlanta at 20 and a half games back. They're ahead of Brooklyn, who's 23 and a half games back. And Philly is only a half game behind. Philly is a half game behind Miami Heat, who's 8 seed, 13 games back, who's only a half game ahead of New York Knicks. I mean, Orlando's actually only a game and a half over Philly, who's in the 7th seed at 13 and a half games back. Orlando's at 12 games back at the 4th spot. So there's could be a 4 seed in the East through 8 seed is 2.5 games. 2.5 games. So that's some talking about some jostling for position. Can Philly? I mean, Embiid coming back. I'm scared of Embiid coming back, but can Philly make it into the playoffs? They're in the play-in. They're number 7 in the play-in tournament right now. Can they make it into to the playoffs? Do you see Miami and New York falling back? Or Orlando? I mean, they started off the season pretty hot. Looks like they done settled down in. They're 8-2 in the last 10 games. They done settled things down a little bit and playing more consistently and back to the number 4 seed. Can they hold on to the number 4 seed?
I think so. I think they can hold on to it. With regards to what Philadelphia can do, I think they're missing Joel Embiid more and more every day. It's a matter of can he get healthy, what he's going to have to contribute when it all comes to fruition, and how much he has left in the tank. But can they hold on? I think they're going to be in the play-in. I don't think they're going to get to that 6 and challenged the 6.
They're only a game half behind Miami. This is about Miami's time of the season though, where they kind of turn things on. They're built for the playoffs, so it's however they do it, smoke and mirrors, gum and toothpaste, or gum and however the Miami tends to do it. I mean, they just seem to get things right at this time of the year. So you got to give them some credit. New York Knicks, are you expecting them to slide back? They're at the number 5 seed, only a half game behind the Orlando Magic, a half game ahead of the Miami Heat. Do you think they can stay strong at the 5 seed and hold off fend off any the 76ers or the Pacers to stay in that regular playoff?
Yeah, 5 sounds about right for them. Let's keep it there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for Philly.
Yeah. And then those other players have really stepped up. I mean, Maxey is showing flashes of brilliance, but it looks like he got tired very quickly of trying to be the guy. And they don't really have anywhere else to turn. I mean, Tobias Harris is consistently playing out of a position, Well, the other players are not that great.
The expectation for Tobias Harris, when you start expecting stuff from him, they get a little lofty, and that's always been the problem with Tobias Harris.
Yeah. But they also picked up Buddy Hield. He was supposed to be contributing, but that's if you have Joel in the middle, kind of starting to help with that. So, but without Joel, I mean, they're kind of
But I mean, as much as Joel was he was on the MVP pace, obviously, but when he comes back, I mean, these guys are revving it up for the playoffs. So there's a different pace, as you know. There's a different pace in the summer league than there is in the regular season, and there's a different pace from when you're playing in December of the regular season from when you're playing in March of the regular season. Now you're going to ask Joel to jump in where these guys are getting ready for the playoff competition. You're going to ask him to jump into the game.
Cam, now that you're talking about this, I hope it doesn't look like when Michael Jordan came back in '95. I hope it doesn't look like that. Like he was good for the first couple of bouts, but then he got to that team that felt disrespected, that you felt he could just come back, 15 games into the season and get to the championship, kick rocks, man. Young Shaq and Penny were not having it, man. And plus, you were already confused putting the 45 on instead of the 23. It was like, oh, no. This is very similar. Joel's just going to try and jump back in like he never left. It's like, oh, no, a little bit of a ramp-up period.
Yeah, I mean, and Joel is not going to lead them to the Eastern Conference Finals to find out that things aren't the same. I mean, if they got to if he came back and won 2 playoff series, I mean, that'd be very impressive. That would be.
I mean, the further they fall, I mean, right now it would be Milwaukee, right? Just straight out the chute, wouldn't it?
Well, they're in the 7th seed right now, so they have to play into that. Yeah, so yeah, Milwaukee would be straight at the chute, and Milwaukee's turning things around.
Yeah.
Although they're down 10 to Golden State right now, but you see Milwaukee is playing a decent hoop right now, so that would be an adjustment there. But it's going to be interesting to see what Philly's able to do. Can the Pacers, play themselves into the play-in tournament or play out of the play-in tournament into the playoffs? And we expect Miami to hold on. And what do the Knicks do? The Knicks is suffering injuries too. They're 3-7 of their last 10 games, so they're falling back, just like the 76ers are 4-6. They're taking a backslide either. They're taking a backslide as well. So can the Heat take advantage of the Knicks falling back? We'll see.
Oh yeah, I mean the Heat are always kind of lurking around. Jimmy Butler does his best Robert Horry impersonation through the season, man. Just kind of like I ain't that good, but I'm kind of good. I'm kind of trying to get into so that's cool. Trying to get into playing shape, and all of a sudden you just see a whole other, they call him playoff Jimmy for a reason, man. Right now, the Knicks are in that same situation they was when Ice Trae came to the Garden and burned it down. This time it's gonna be a cat from the 206 named Paolo Banchero. Be careful. Dude's averaging 23. Second.
Yeah, and I gotta watch some more Orlando Magic. Honestly, those guys, they had a lot of number ones that they've been waiting to pay off. And is it all Paulo, or is he getting some help from finally Cole Anthony finally earning some money out there? Is Suggs doing something?
Paulo and the Wagner brothers, man. Markel's cool. I mean, he's contributing, but I can't say it's Cole. I mean, they drafted Jett Howard way too high this year. Can't say it's him. So yeah, you have their ancillary players being the Wagner brothers and Paulo getting it done.
So the games we focused on last week, Cleveland, was the Warriors and the Knicks, the Pacers and the Pelicans, and the Clippers and the Timberwolves. You had the Warriors, I had the Knicks, you had the Warriors, I had the Pacers, and you took your Pelicans. Gave you a 2-0 lead there, but you could have had a clean sweep, but the Clippers ended up beating Minnesota last week. So you were 2 out of 3. This week, you want to talk about the Minnesota and Clipper games? That was a throwback game. It was the 89-88 game. Did you see that game? Did you see any highlights from that game? Did you watch it?
Cam, you know how I feel about those defensive battles, man. Like, no, not really, man. Let's get ready and see who's really going to get down in the playoffs, man.
I mean, well, that's how things happen in the playoffs. Doesn't the game slow down in the playoffs?
Yeah, but the cream rises to the top, man. This is not
Oh,
one.
That's when the Clippers won because the cream rises to the top.
Oh, they won by 1 point, and then how they do against the Lakers a few games later.
I mean, a win's a win, right? Now you're gonna say how they won is a concern to you?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I mean, that is it replicatable? I mean, can you duplicate that, in the playoffs? And the answer is no, not really.
Okay, so who do you have more confidence in? You have more confidence in Minnesota in the playoffs than the Clippers in the playoffs?
No, I have more confidence in the Clippers in the playoffs.
Okay. So, who do you have more confidence in? You didn't have any confidence in the Sacramento Kings last year? Why? And why not?
Because I thought that they were overachievers that did a lot of good things in the regular season, and that once the playoffs kicked in, they didn't have a go-to guy that you need in the playoffs, and it showed.
So the other team, what confidence? How different is OKC this year than the Sacramento Kings were last year?
They're not a whole lot different, Cam. I mean, they have probably more talent, but they still don't have a go-to guy. Shea's getting closer and closer every day, but he's still not quite there.
I think Shea was better. I mean, I like De'Aaron Fox, and I like Shea was better this year than De'Aaron Fox was last
year. Okay.
Would you agree? Would you agree? Would you disagree? You said they don't have a go-to guy. I think.
No, I would agree. I mean, Shea has colder moves and a much better jumper. I mean, De'Aaron is a blur. Let's not get it twisted, and we'll take the ball from you, at any time. But
Chet is better. Chet is better than Sabonis. Chet, it might be minusculely, it might be by a small margin, but Chet is better than Sabonis. Right?
Yeah, he's definitely got more versatility. He can do more things, but he's in his rookie season.
So you don't have. So they're in the same place. So you don't have any confidence in what OKC does in the playoffs because of their youth, right? Like they're gonna have to have a nasty loss, right? They have to. The Kings suffered their heartbreaking loss last year to losing to their big brother. Right when they played the Warriors, like
if the question is, do I think OKC will get out of the first round? The answer is no.
They won't get out of the first round, regardless of who they're playing.
Regardless of who they're playing, unless it's the Sacramento Kings, in which case they do have a chance.
I mean, as of today, they would be playing the Sacramento Kings.
Okay, well then maybe they can get that, but there's no guarantee that they're even going to be in the 2 seed. So I mean,
let's just as of right now,
though, knock down and find out who they're playing. If they fall to 3, I mean, they really have no shot, right?
I mean, if they fall to 3, they'd be playing Phoenix as of this moment.
Yeah, so I'll take the Suns in that one.
So just because of the youth, you have no faith in okay.
Well, the Suns have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and I guess we'll throw Bradley Beal in the mix, and OKC will be countering with Shea, Chet, and Josh Giddey.
I might take OKC in that matchup.
Okay, give me some chum on that then when it comes around.
Yeah, if that comes around, we might have to put something on that one because I'm just not impressed with Phoenix. I mean, Grayson Allen can't cover everybody's ills. I'm just not impressed with Phoenix. What they're doing. My guy Vogel, I don't see him getting it done. He's not gonna coach anybody out the bag. So
well, good news, Cam. It's a playoff, so he doesn't really actually have to.
Oh boy, why? Oh yeah, coaches don't matter in the playoffs. Is that what you're saying?
So no, it's not a prerequisite to winning a championship. No.
Didn't you just tell me just last week? Didn't you just tell me told me Steve Kerr got 4 of them, and he's gonna be there as long as he wants to be there with Steph? Didn't you just tell me that last week?
Do you think Steve Kerr's like a Phil Jackson type coach? Is that coaching, or is that just like managing personalities? There's a difference.
Does that is coaching, isn't it?
No,
Getting the most out of
no.
the
See, Ken, when you're talking, you're like, draw me something up on the chalkboard, draw me something up on the whiteboard that's gonna stop or nullify this or that happening, and then do this, and then we'll score every time down the court. No, see that's your style of coaching. And I keep telling you every year we do this. No, the NBA playoffs is different.
So
this isn't about scheme. This isn't about depth. This isn't about hustle. This isn't about want to. This is about basketball gods deciding who's going to win a championship or not.
Oh, fans, when we get close to the NBA, you can hear this nonsense about basketball gods that Cleveland has a whole. He has a whole.
Manifesto is coming very soon, fans. As soon as we get close to the playoffs, it will be unreleased. It will be released for all y'all.
Actually, I'm gonna play that video on Twitter. Hit us up on Twitter @_voice of the fans. I'm gonna put that. I think I had that cut. I'm gonna put it up for you guys to hear this Cleveland's nonsense about what is it called, Cleveland?
Basketball gods win championships, man.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna put this nonsense up for you guys to hear this stuff. So this week we're focusing on the Celtics versus the Nuggets. 48 and 13 Celtics versus the 42 and 20 Nuggets. They're playing. I think they play tomorrow night. Who you got? You picked Denver. I actually picked Denver. I kind of think the Celtics is going to have a little bit more to. They're in Denver. I kind of think the Celtics is going to want to rebound, but I did pick Denver. Also, we're looking at the 41 and 21 Bucks. They're playing the 34 and 29 Lakers. I got Milwaukee in this game. Golden State up 19 on Milwaukee right now, going into halftime. Who do you have winning this game? Or you pick Milwaukee? Why do you pick Milwaukee over the Lakers?
Oh man, the Lakers are tired of kind of the schedule that they've been going through, and Milwaukee's a better team right now.
They're at home. The Lakers don't leave the state of California, I think, until April.
Hey, well, don't worry about what the Lakers are doing, schedule wise.
I mean, I don't know how that worked out, where they don't even leave the state for the whole month, going into the playoffs.
That's not true.
Look at your schedule.
There's not enough teams in Los Angeles, in the state of California, for them not to leave the state.
I'm gonna read you the schedule right now. They're at home against Sacramento. They're on right now. At home against Milwaukee. At home against Minnesota. They go to Sacramento. They're at home against Golden State. At home against Atlanta. At home against Philly. At home against the Pacers. At home, they go to Milwaukee. Excuse me. They get on Milwaukee, Memphis. Okay, so they don't leave.
So there's a road trip in there. All right, cool. So yeah, okay. So cut all that out, man.
They at the end of the month.
Cut all that. They don't leave the state of California for the whole month. Yeah, cut that out, man.
They got 4 games.
Cam, there's a road trip in there. Okay, cool.
4 out of the next 8 games are on the road.
Okay, cool. There's a road trip in there. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, they don't leave for the next 3 weeks. They don't leave.
Okay, there's a road trip in there. Okay, cool.
California for the next 3 weeks.
Cool. Road trip.
The Rockets play Sacramento. We saw what the Rockets did tonight. 27 and 34. Rockets played the 34 and 26 Kings. I got Houston. I picked Houston in this game. You got Sacramento. What? You don't like Sacramento? You have no faith in them. Why do you think they're going to beat the Rockets?
Well, I mean, talent-wise, they're better than the Houston Rockets, and they're in their playoff hunt, so they should win this game.
Okay, fair enough. Interesting. Cleveland, let's jump into this football, man. NFL, your guy Mike Evans gets signed 2-year, $52 million. What's your thoughts on that deal? It's a good deal, $35 million guaranteed. I think it's a good deal for he clearly didn't want to leave Tampa Bay. he probably could have got a longer term contract if he left Tampa Bay. But 2 year, $52 million. Does this guarantee Baker coming back?
I don't think anything guarantees Baker coming back, but I like the fact that Mike have got similar money to top tier receivers. He didn't get Reek money, but he got DK money. I think that's a good comp.
25 per 35 guaranteed. He's up there. He's going into year 11, right? He's going into year 11. I mean, that's a solid contract. The Broncos, they informed Russell Wilson. I mean, we kind of already knew it that they're going to cut him. I'm not going to ask you. We talked about what the best fit for Russell is. I'll ask you something else about Russell here in a minute. But did this now make that Broncos trade for Russell Wilson the worst trade in NFL history?
No, the worst trade is still the Herschel Walker going to the Minnesota Vikings for multiple picks.
Now, a lot of people say that, but Minnesota made the playoffs that season. I keep reminding you guys, think Minnesota made the playoffs that season when they acquired Herschel Walker. So that can't be the worst trade.
Oh yeah, that trade kept getting worse and worse with every player that was cut by Jimmy Johnson, and every year that there were more picks within the agreement.
Okay, so
they ended up being like 8 players.
So you're looking at it. So you're looking at it as the results of the result of the trade. I'm saying that they gave up a lot of players, like 12 players, but some of those players weren't starters, as you know, because they didn't make the Cowboys, and they acquired the one player that they needed to actually make the playoffs. Right?
No, they had made the playoffs before that. This was supposed to be the player that was putting them over the top.
So they go to the playoffs, and you're looking at what Dallas turned those players into, how they flipped the players. That's why you're saying it was the worst trade, because of what Dallas took, what that Dallas gave up, for it was one player, Herschel Walker, and then how they flipped those players, either cut them and then drafted different players, Hall of Fame players. I mean, the end result of that trade is you can't say that trade. I can't say that was the worst trade because of the way you guys are looking at kind of the end result 2 to 3 years down the line, and what Dallas became a dynasty. Some of the based off of what they did.
So why wouldn't you be looking at the overall result of the trade with regards to what was the worst trade in the history of the NFL?
Because you're looking at what happened, the end result of the trade, end result of the players. The end result of the trade that happened 3 years down the line. Like Dallas could have kept those players on the team, and those players continue to stink, but they didn't. It's what Jimmy Johnson did to flip those players into.
Yeah, Cam, because if you're talking about the worst trade, you have to talk about the end result of what the trade resulted in, right?
So with that same logic that you just gave me, with that same logic, the Colts sending Elway to the Broncos for Hinton and Herman, was that a worse trade? The Broncos went to 5 Super Bowls, right? Was that that seemed to me to be a worse trade than that Cowboy trade, sending Herschel Walker. And again, I remind you, when they sent Herschel Walker to Minnesota, Minnesota made the playoffs that year. So while Dallas didn't do anything that particular season, it took time for that trade to mature, if you will. Minnesota reaped the benefits immediately by making the playoffs. That's why I struggle to say that was the worst trade. But Elway going to the Colts, sending Elway to the Broncos for Hinton and Herman, and they go to 5 Super Bowls. That's not a worse trade?
I wouldn't say so, Ken. I mean, just because of the sustained greatness of the Cowboys after that trade. Is it a worse trade than Russell Wilson
Five
for
Super
2
Bowls?
firsts and 2 seconds?
The Saints giving up their entire draft to the Redskins for Ricky Williams.
Rough. That's rough.
Is that equivalent? The Saints didn't go to the playoffs, nor did the
That's certainly up there. Top 5 all time.
Minnesota trading Randy Moss to the Raiders. Was that a worse trade?
No.
Or was that a new
anybody?
Huh?
Nobody came up on that one.
The Raiders trading Randy Moss to the Patriots.
That's rough. That's a tough one. Because they got little or nothing for the greatest.
It was a 4th round draft pick.
Top 3 receiver of all time. Yeah, that's a tough one.
I mean, I struggle to say that Herschel Walker trade was the worst trade, only because Minnesota did reap the benefits. Long term, it was a better trade for the Cowboys. I grant you that. But that season, when they traded them and they got what they got out of it, that was a season. By the way, too, that wasn't like a trade that happened in the offseason. That happened during the middle of the season. They reaped the benefits immediately from getting Herschel Walker. Long term, it was a better trade for the Dallas Cowboys. I will grant you that. Now, Cleveland, here's a serious question. Even would you rather have Michael Vick, or would you rather have LaDainian Tomlinson? You know how I feel about the young LT. But if you remember, the Chargers had the number 1 pick, and they sent that to Atlanta so they can draft Michael Vick, and they took Tomlinson. Who got the better of that deal?
The Chargers.
So you'd rather have LT than the Michael Vick experience?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's very interesting that you would say that. Why would you say that?
Consistency over time. You've seen the longevity of what LaDainian Thompson was able to do, and in a much less intrusive way than Michael Vick did. I mean, Michael Vick burned Wyatt hot, that season when he went up to Green Bay and broke the playoff streak at Lambeau. Nobody comes to Lambeau and wins until he just ran past everybody. Okay. But then you always had questions about his maturity. You always had questions about his leadership. You always had questions about his decision-making in the pocket. And then you have this questions about his off-field indiscretions, which leads you to not have a quarterback at all. So clearly, LT was the better pick.
The Mike Vick experience. I mean, was there anything? Deion Sanders, his season, his first season with the Falcons, and then he goes play baseball. What do he do? Hit a home run and then get a punt return in the same week? Like, that might be the only thing. Like that, that was like Linsanity, right? What Deion Sanders did, played in the World Series game, and then he played in the football game, and then played in the World Series game. Yeah, and he did the same week,
same day.
That was like Linsanity, right? At the time, the only thing. What was White hotter than
Tomlinson is a Hall of Famer, and Mike Vick is not.
Will Mike Vick ever get in the Hall of Fame?
Never.
Only because
he doesn't have a Hall of Fame career. And your stance will be he only doesn't have a Hall of Fame career because they do those 4 years in prison. Yeah, that's why.
I'm trying not to bring that up, but I'm saying, whose flame was hotter? Was there a hotter flame than Mike Vick?
Nope.
Was that Mike Vick experience?
Nope. Cover Madden and all that.
I mean, shame on his boys, man. He didn't. Shame on his boy. They flipped on him. Shame on those guys. Shame on those guys. Like, dog, what are you guys doing? So somebody better take this charge. Somebody better take this charge. Step up and say, "Those are my dogs." I was a landlord. Shame on those guys. For letting Mike Vick go down like that. That was shame on it. Shame on his boys. So you still stick. Did I convince you? Was there a worse trade than Herschel Walker to the Cowboys? You stuck on that one.
Stuck on that one.
Elway, the Colts sending Elway to the Broncos and getting 5 Super Bowls, going to 5 Super Bowls doesn't tickle you at all.
It's egregious what they gave up, but they knew what they were giving up, and John Elway had a tremendous amount of leverage, having been drafted by the Yankees and having no desire whatsoever to play for Frank Cush and the Colts. That was never going to happen.
I don't know how I'd handle that. I don't know how I'd handle that. If I drafted you, I'd have held on to those rights. Like like they made your boy Carson Palmer retire. Like, yeah, I'm not trading you. I'm not trading you. You're a Bengal. We're not even picking up the phone. You talk about offers. It wasn't. They made it. He had to sit out a year, right? He sat out a year before he can go to the Raiders. Yeah, I don't know how to handle that one. Interesting. I can't call that the worst trade. I can't. Just Herschel Walker. I understand why people do, but Minnesota people just forget or don't recognize that Minnesota did make the playoffs. Like they immediately benefited from that trade. That's why I just can't. So what quarterback, Cleveland? You got Wilson, Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, and Baker Mayfield. Are you inviting Russell Wilson back to Seattle? You going after Kirk Cousins? You going after Baker Mayfield? Who you going?
No, none of that. Perhaps Kirk, but I think his price tag's going to be a little too high, so we're not really entertaining that either.
Have you guys called dude in Chicago? Are you guys interested in Justin Fields?
No, thanks. I mean, tremendous athlete. I mean, given the right set of circumstances, I think he could be dynamic.
A running game, a good defense. Like didn't your OC, wasn't he with Baltimore? Or the head coach was with Baltimore last year. You don't think he
was with the Huskies last year?
You don't think the coach saw what they were able to do with Lamar and say we can replicate replicate that with Justin Fields?
Yeah, he brought in a different style of OC, so I don't think that's going to be a thing. But hey, man,
he brought in the OC who can't call plays, who choked it up for who didn't allow their quarterback to win the Heisman. He brought in that guy.
Now you're talking outside of your mouth.
What are you talking about?
Go down, homie.
I watched those games. I watched those terrible play calls against the Oregon Ducks, against the Washington State.
Talking ill about Grubb like that.
I watched the game. I don't know about you.
Okay, well, I don't know he was a play calling expertise to the NFL. Does Justin Fields fit that offensive scheme? I'm not 100% sure with that.
Oh, so you guys are gonna get Penix in the odds? We got to pick a 15.
Don't worry about what we're doing. Don't worry about what
we're doing. You going for Penix?
Don't worry about what we're doing.
I don't know that. I don't think that's a good move. I don't think pairing Penix up with his OC is a good move. The guy who coached him out of a Heisman Trophy. I don't know that that's a good move.
Okay, yeah. I see you trying to poke the bear. It's fine.
Am I wrong?
No, he did not coach him out of a first round pick. No, that's not what happened there.
What now?
I said he not coach him out of position, out of being a first round pick. That's not what happened. No.
I said he coached him out of the Heisman.
How did he do that? They didn't lose any games.
Do we have to relitigate this, Cleveland?
You know, we absolutely do not, because it's
He
water under the bridge, because the offensive coordinator is the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks, and Michael Penix Jr. is in the draft, and what happened in college will be old news. So no, we do not have to retry this case.
Oh, so we just ignore that there's a previous
move on. We're just gonna move
We're just
on.
going to ignore that there was a previous relationship there.
We're move on and see what happened. Right now, I don't believe Michael Penix Jr. is under contract with the Seahawks, so it don't matter.
Why are you so salty, man? Why?
Because of the way you
so salty right now?
It's
I'm asking. Was it? I'm simply stating. I don't think that would be a good union.
14-1. Team went 14-1. Come on, man. Cut that out.
Cleveland. They barely won against. They barely beat Oregon the first time.
They beat them 2 times.
Yeah, they barely beat them both times, right? They coached him.
Are we getting to barely beating people?
He lost. Did Penix?
We're getting to barely beating people.
Did Penix lose his Heisman?
What does it matter? It's April, man.
Was it against
the draft?
Was it against? See, you're not even gonna let me talk. Was it against the Ducks, or was it against the Cougars that Penix lost his Heisman, his position for Heisman? Which game was that?
You know, it was when Daniels from LSU was scoring all them touchdowns against teams that only won 3 games.
He don't even want to address it. He doesn't. I tested nerve there. He don't even want to address it right now. He don't even want to address how the Huskies almost get. He lost a Heisman.
Why are we talking about college trophies? We're past that. College is over.
See, fans. I'm sorry, fans. I'm sorry, Cleveland. I didn't mean that. I hope you come back next week to do the show with me, man. I know I touched a nerve with you that I could see. I can see the saltiness in your eyes, man. I apologize. Will you accept my apology, sir?
No apology needed. I mean, we're continuing to go on this tangent about something.
I'm asking. It's not a legitimate question who the Seahawks want, because I know you don't want Geno. You made that abundantly clear that Geno is not. You don't want Geno on your depth chart. However, he's there. You paid him a bunch of money. However, he's already there. So I'm asking you. So what's the next move? Are you going to go after a quarterback with your draft pick? Are you going to go after Penix? Are you going to reunite Penix with his offensive coordinator from college?
That remains to be seen, Cam. It won't be with the first pick. It won't be in the first round. It would be a second or third round if that were to happen.
So Penix is not a first round pick, is what you're admitting that?
Not with the pick that the Seahawks currently have, which is a 16. It's a bit high.
That's a bit high for Penix.
Bit high for Penix.
But would you come around and would you move up in the second round, early in the second round to get him?
Oh, early in the second round for sure.
You would. So if you can maneuver around and get him early in the second round, you would reunite Penix Jr. with his college coach.
With Grubb, yeah.
Okay, I'm not so sure about that one, but okay. So Kirk Cousins, maybe you say the tag is too high. Baker Mayfield, you don't want Baker?
Nah, Baker can stay down there in Tampa Bay. He likes it down there. Good weather, nice people.
Baker might be looking for some big money.
Oh, is he?
Hey, he may be looking for some big money.
Lots of people looking for big money. Hope he finds it.
I mean, if Minnesota doesn't sign Kirk Cousins, they're going to be a hole in Minnesota. Did you talk to your guy Tomlin? Is he locked in to Russell, or is Russell going to Las Vegas?
Preferably, the Wilson clan would like to go to Vegas. Whether that's an option or not remains to be seen. Tomlin is he's kind of open right now with regards to who's going to be quarterback over there. Not a tremendous amount of confidence in Pickett, and Fields and Wilson still being out there. We don't know what Cousins wants to do, so they certainly have some options out there. So yeah, that's remains to be seen.
It'd be crazy. And it sounds like it's even it'd be crazy. It sounds like from all that I'm hearing is Russell's going to end up in Las Vegas. Tomlin's going to run it back with Pickett.
Mm,
I think is a mistake.
mistake.
Cousins, Minnesota's probably going to open the bag for Cousins because of what happened without him last year. So they're probably going to pay him to feel like they can't do it without him. And Baker, that leaves Baker to be right back in Tampa, but because they signed, Baker said he wouldn't go back without Mike Williams or Mike Evans. They signed him, so now Baker, what's your reason for not going back to Tampa? I mean, what reason do you have? So, but that leaves Atlanta with the whole, Washington, the Commanders with the whole, Chicago. Chicago, I think, is overplayed their hand, thinking that they were going to get a haul for Fields, and nobody's really offered much from them other than a couple third rounders, and that leaves them with the decision: do they take Caleb Williams? But now you have Caleb Williams and Justin Fields on the same squad.
For now,
I don't know where that makes sense. I don't know where that makes sense. You ruin Fields because he's not only have you not put talent around Fields, but now you're going to draft his backup already and not do anything with them.
No, you're not drafting his backup. You're drafting Caleb to be the starter day one.
Oh, so not only is so you grooming Fields to be your backup quarterback.
Yes,
you've been grooming Fields to be your backup quarterback.
You haven't been grooming him this whole time to be your backup quarterback, but as a situation has presented itself, he's going to be the backup quarterback for now, unless they can find a suitable trade partner.
Wow. And this is the environment that you want Caleb Williams to excel in?
No, not really. I mean, it's not ideal. It's not an ideal situation, but it is the situation that's occurred.
I don't know how you expect that to work for clearly. So, but what you're saying, you don't expect it to work for Fields because you already put Fields as number 2 on your depth chart, and Caleb hasn't taken it down as taken a snap in the NFL.
Not one snap.
And then if you went to the season with both of them, you started Fields and try to give Caleb some time. After Fields goes 1-3 in the first half of the season, you're looking for the chopping block, and then you're going to throw Caleb in there for him to go 1-3 the next 4 games.
You're projecting way out there, Cam. First things first.
Oh.
Let's see who the Bears pick with the number 1 pick, and let's see if Fields some offers. No pun intended.
Why don't they just go get the receiver? Just give the guy somebody to throw to at least. At least give them somebody to throw to.
With the number 1 pick in the draft?
Is it that hasn't been done before? A receiver?
Yeah, last time that happened was Keyshawn Johnson. How'd that work out?
Is he Keyshawn Johnson? You're the guy who says if his name was Bob Jackson, people be drafting him in a 15 or 16 pick.
10 to 12.
It's a complete crap.
Why you doing that to that kid, man? Why are you doing that to that man?
His name is Marvin Harrison Jr., bro.
Okay, did he have to perform on the field?
Yeah.
Was he not the best receiver in college football the last 2 years?
Last 2 years, yes.
So you're acting like he hasn't produced on the field. Who was his quarterback at Ohio State? Exactly. My point exactly.
CJ Stroud in his junior year. Who
Okay.
it was last year, I don't recall.
Yeah, exactly. My point exactly. Didn't he lead the nation in receiving last year? Come on, man. Why you doing that to that
You were
man?
cool, but I mean,
Why you doing that to that man?
Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah.
That tells you he has pedigree. That tells you he's been around the game. That tells you he knows what to expect. The lights aren't going to be too bright for him. He should come in. He should come in and
Let's see what his 40 time is. He's having a pro day, right?
Yeah, who was that? Who was that, Bootzilla?
That was who was throwing to him.
I know.
Yeah, you asked the question. Kyle McCord.
So you still need to see some measurables.
I still need to see some measurables, yeah.
This guy. Boots. I don't know what to say.
That person don't know football then.
That's what that sounds like to me. You say you still need to see some measurables.
You go ahead and draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Number one pick in the draft. You go right ahead and do that and see what a difference maker he can be.
I mean, give the guy some help before you cast him aside. That's what you sound like you're doing. You're ready to cast
very similar to when Arizona had the number one pick in the draft. Already had a quarterback that they drafted 10 just the year before. But
no.
Kyler Murray.
No.
Now you're
comparing Justin Fields to Rosen.
That Justin Fields has a ceiling, and they know where it's at, and they have no idea what Caleb's ceiling is, and they're willing to take a risk on that.
You're comparing Justin Fields to Rosen, Josh Rosen. That's what you're doing. Yeah. Justin Fields he's at least been better than Josh Rosen. Come on now. He's been better than that. And I like the pick that Josh Rosen come out
4 years, man. I mean,
I like him coming out of UCLA.
Are you thrilled with Justin Fields?
They haven't put talent around him.
See,
is the point I'm making.
That was a yes or no question.
No, I'm saying they haven't put I wasn't a fan of him coming out of college.
Okay.
But he's been better than I anticipated coming out of college.
Okay.
Am I thrilled with him? No. Do I think Caleb is going to be better than Justin Fields next year? No, I don't. Maybe down the line somewhere. Maybe. If he can settle down and learn how to play on schedule, potentially. But he's not going into a good situation. And this is what I'm saying. You're trying to grade Justin Fields as if like he's playing with the New England Patriots. And he was playing with Bill Belichick. That's not what was going on in Chicago. He didn't go into a Mike Shanahan offense.
You sound like his agent to me. Okay, well then, man, he should be getting more.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying he hasn't been in an ideal situation. Saying that he does. Is he going to be better than Caleb Williams? Well, who knows what Caleb Williams is going to do? He's not going into an ideal situation either. So I don't know. If you're Washington, do you move up to get Caleb Williams?
There is no moving up to get Caleb. They've decided that that's what they're going to do. Would you give away 5 first-round picks for it? No. I don't think he's that generational.
What would you give up for him? I mean, Washington, who should trade for him? Washington, Atlanta? Atlanta's too far. What are they? 8th, I think? 7th or 8th? They're too far down to get him. Chicago's not interested in that. Washington, I think, would be the only one who actually has a chance, right?
Yeah, they're not going to trade for Caleb, bro.
The Patriots cut Jason Jackson. Now, if you know, if you're familiar with Jason Jackson, the Chargers traded for Jason Jackson, traded the number 1 draft pick for him last season. 2 seasons ago, excuse me, 2 seasons ago. Gave him $100 million contract before he joined the team. Completely fizzled out. Blew out his. I think he tore his knee out because he played a couple games, tore his knee, then got healthy, came back last year. 3 games into the season, they traded him back to the Patriots for like a 6-round draft. The Patriots just got him. NFL is cold, bro. Dude signed a $100 million contract 12 months ago, and now, right as we speak, is not in the league. Not in the league. That's cutthroat.
Contracts mean nothing.
What's that?
So those contracts mean nothing.
The Bills, well, they've been on a hatchet case this week, cutting Poyer. Poyer gets cut. Tre'Davious White gets cut. Those are, a couple of their top defensive players. They cut their center. They just been cutting contracts. This is that time, man. NFL is cutthroat, man. NFL, bro. If you don't perform, if you're not winning, NFL is cutthroat. And that dude in Chicago, man, Ryan Poles, you got to figure it out, man. You got to figure it out because you might be on the chopping blocks next. It looks like Barkley is not gonna be tagged. All the running backs who essentially was on that phone call last year talking about let's have each other's back. Now they're each of them fighting for a contract. They're competing with each other for a contract this year, along with the rookies. Cleveland, explain to me. This is what I don't understand. I tried to have this conversation with you before. This is what I don't understand. When you're up by 3, 7 minutes in the game, the idea is to run the clock out, right? It's the best way to run the clock out. Just give the ball, turn around, and have your quarterback get the ball to the running back. Every game, somebody's in a team. Every game is in this situation. Cleveland, what's the best friend? What's the best friend to your quarterback, Cleveland?
Cam Strong running game.
How is the running backs devalued in the NFL? This is beyond me. This is something that is as many years as I've been watching football, covering football. I cannot understand how this has happened. Is it the flood of running backs on the market? Is it the fact that you can draft a running back with the 3rd or 4th round draft pick to get the same production or similar production as a Tony Pollard, as a DeAndre Swift, Zach Moss, J.K. Dobbins? Is that what the logic is? Like, how is Josh Jacobs on the market? How is this possible? Saquon Barkley got some injury issues, so I can kind of see that. But you would think you would want to keep the guy. You would want to pick the guy up. Derrick Henry turned 30 years old, or he is 30 years old. And the myth is that after a running back turns 30, his career is over. But who wants to tackle the dude who's 6'3", 250 pounds? Who wants to tackle him in the 4th quarter? Let me help, Cleveland. Let me help you out. There's not many players that want to tackle that dude. How has he remained on the market? Where am I? Fill it in, Cleveland. You like to talk to me about football and tell me where I'm wrong. Where am I wrong? What am I missing?
Well, Cam, a couple things. One, offenses don't have that same commitment to the running game as they once did.
Cleveland, I just gave you a scenario. Every single game comes down to that. Well, not every single game. Most games come down to that scenario. What do we say about the Baltimore Ravens? Wait, excuse me. I'm going to let you answer. I don't mean to cut you off. What do we say about the Baltimore Ravens? What was wrong with them against the Kansas City Chiefs? They did not run enough. They did not run. They tried to let Lamar Jackson be the superstar, and they didn't run the ball enough. You're familiar with it. What happened with the Seattle Seahawks against the New England Patriots when they had the inadvertent interception? Well, it wasn't inadvertent. They threw the interception at the goal line. It's because they didn't run the ball. They had a bell cow back. Again, but we just go back to last season. The Baltimore Ravens didn't run the ball enough. The San Francisco 49ers, I told you after that game, one of the reasons that they lost that game is because their running back was the offensive player of the year. He only had 22 carries in that game. I told you he should have had 32 carries in that game. As much as I was spouting the praises of Brock Purdy all season long, Christian Jackson McCaffrey should have had 32 carries in that game against Patrick Mahomes. You can't tell me that running games aren't critical to winning games in NFL. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Try to convince me I'm wrong again.
Yeah, Cam. Offenses are not traditional in the way that you want them to be anymore. Running backs, they wear down, so they lose their value. That's basically what it's come down to. That's why they're not able to get these big contracts, and they're very few and far between. It's not like the old days when you could just, pitch it to Earl Campbell, pitch it to Eric Dickerson. It's not like the old days when, Curtis Martin can resurrect his career and after 30 still have 4 or 5, 12, 1,300-yard seasons, or even like we were just talking about LT,
Cleveland, Josh Jacobs.
That's in the past.
I know you're not a Josh Jacobs fan. I know that. I understand that. Just let me explain. Let me pull something up for you. I already know you're not a fan, so I know this is good. This is gonna come with some resistance when I say this. But Josh Jacobs has led the NFL in rushing 3 of his 5 seasons in the NFL. Cleveland. 3 of his first 5 seasons, so that more than half the time he's led the NFL in rushing. More than half of his career in the NFL. You telling me a team doesn't need that type of production on the squad? Is that what I'm to believe?
Chances are, his best years were in the past. That's how NFL teams evaluate these things nowadays.
We're talking about 5 years. 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years of rough running. So maybe he has 2 left. That's how they look at it.
And you're totally good with that. You understand?
No, I think it's a travesty. I think it's a very blanket type of evaluation, in that there are certainly instances where that's not the case. There are exceptions, but not a lot. And the owners just have decided that they're just going to go with the metrics, man, and just use that as kind of a barometer. 26, 27, or I would say 27, 28. That's about when you start to show some decline. The greats, Hall of Famers. That's kind of where you're going to be.
6 years old. 2 years ago, he ran for 1,650 yards just 2 seasons ago. Led the NFL in yards per game.
Football players age in dog years, and you can't project what they did 2 years ago with regards to what they're going to do next year. It's not a thing. Look no further than DeMarco Murray.
You got Austin Eckler.
Look no further than the DeMarco Murray example. What did the Cowboys tell him? Hey, we can't give you your money until you show that you're durable and can run tilt the rock every down. Okay. Carries the most carries in the NFL, has the most yards in the NFL. And what did they tell him, Cam? Well, we can't pay you because you can't pay you. You're about to break down. I can't give you all this money after what you just did. I know you did exactly what we asked you to do to earn the money, but wow. I mean, you carried the ball more than anybody else in the league.
All right, so let's check off Josh Jacobs.
Okay.
I don't know. I think Josh Jacobs is the best out of the bunch. I would go with Henry. I would go with Henry if I was the Los Angeles Chargers and I kept Austin Eckler. I would sign to Derrick Henry because I know I got two guys that if you want to quote up in age, neither one of these guys is gonna, you're not gonna wear either one of these guys down. If I was the Dallas Cowboys and I retained Tony Pollard, I would sign to Derrick Henry again with the intention that I'm not giving either one of these guys 300 touches this season. Like between the both of them, they might get 250 apiece to give me 500 touches out of the running back position. That's how I would sign and use Derrick Henry. I don't want Derrick Henry my every down back because I'm trying to get the most out of him over the next couple of years. So I'm gonna take Josh Jacobs out. I'm gonna take Derrick Henry out. So that leaves you Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, DeAndre Swift, and I think out of Gus Edwards, Josh Dobbins, AJ Dillon, Zach Moss, Devin Singletary, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Who do you take out of Barkley, Eckler, Pollard, Swift? I mean, Elliott shouldn't be in that conversation. Who do you take out of those four quarterbacks or running backs? Swift, Pollard, Barkley, or Eckler?
I'm taking Saquon.
You taking Saquon? Never mind injuries.
Yeah.
Are injuries a concern for you?
They are like J.K. Dobbins because he's had,
Yeah, I'm not. J.K. Dobbins not compared to either one of them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm taking the upside. I'm assuming that he can play 12 games.
You're trying to get some. You counting on banking on them being healthy. I mean, and that's fair enough. Saquon, from what all things are pointing at, he might sign with Houston. You like that pairing with him, Houston, or the Chargers better?
Oh, Houston.
Only what, you're more of a CJ guy than Herbert? Is CJ already better than Herbert in your
using the whole league that way right now?
I'm asking you a question. Is CJ better?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy.
I think that was proven last year. I mean,
after 16 weeks,
I'm so sorry.
CJ's already better than Herbert.
Number one.
Oh my goodness! After 16 weeks, you got him already better than Justin Herbert.
It's 18 weeks.
Oh,
I'm sorry, 19 weeks because they actually won that first playoff game and then lost that second one. So after 19 weeks, yeah.
You ought to be ashamed. You ought to be ashamed.
I'm so sorry. What's Justin Herbert's playoff record?
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Oh, here you go. Oh, here
yeah, Bruce. You don't listen to me.
Here you go.
You don't listen to me, man. I try to throw it out there. He won't answer my question.
So you're going with Saquon. You're going with Saquon over Eckler, Pollard, Swift. I can't understand. Again, I mentioned this last week. I can't understand how Swift will be on 3 teams in 3 years. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Ezekiel. I mean, who's that? You talking about Herbert? Is that who you talking about?
I mean,
okay. I don't understand what's going on with Swift. I don't understand the situation. He must not be a good teammate, not be a good locker room guy. Oh, this guy. this guy. So he's on.
Ooh.
He's on one today.
I was
I mean,
trying to give it out, but no, he's clearly on my side. With
I
this.
appreciate you tuning in, Bootzilla. Clearly, you're new to the show because I mean, I've ran down for up until last season. I've gave extensive history on what Herbert has done in NFL and how he's rewritten the record book, rewritten the record book.
In the regular season. Mm-hmm. Against the Raiders.
Oh my goodness! Against the Super Bowl against the Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs.
What do you do against Jacksonville? You wish you had an answer, huh? 27-0.
Don't know football then.
I let Terrell Davis talk.
I don't know football. Oh, okay. Right.
So
they weren't up 27-0 at halftime?
I mean, come on. Do we have to relitigate the situation? I mean,
Boots
needs to hear it. There was some bad coaching went into that loss, right?
So how many seasons is Justin Herbert played?
4. I think
4. Okay. And how many times has he made the playoffs?
Man, come on, cut it out, man. Yes. This year, after this year, Boots, there'll be zero excuses. You're absolutely right. Zero excuses going forward. He was hampered, man. He was hindered for 3 years with Brandon Staley. That's clear. Nobody can refute that. He was hindered. And then he had his rookie season where he set a lot of rookie records. He had the running back coach as his head coach. How am I having I can picture my man.
Anthony Lynn. Okay, that's cool. But CJ Stroud set a bunch of records last year too in his rookie season. Took a team that only won 2 games a year prior to the playoffs and then won a playoff game. Again,
there's no excuse to go into the next season.
So all these Justin Herbert empty stats, man. What do they mean?
Moving right along. You want to take a break, man, or you want to get right into this week in history?
Let's jump into it real quick.
What's that?
Let's jump into it real quick.
All right, fans. Each and every week, man, we do something that nobody else does. We do our This Week in History segment. One of the segments that is exclusive to the Voice of the Fans podcast. So we thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Interesting history in the month of March to start March off. March 6, 1857, Dred Scott decision, Cleveland. U.S. Supreme Court ruled that slave Scott, who resided in a free state and territory where slavery was prohibited, was not entitled to his freedom. Also noted that African Americans were not and could never be citizens of the United States. Cleveland, are you familiar with the Dred Scott decision?
I am.
Maybe you didn't hear. I don't know if you heard what I just said. Slavery was prohibited, so the Supreme Court ruled that he was not entitled to his freedom, and also noted that African Americans were not and could never be citizens of the United States. This happened in 1857. Amazing. 19. Oh goodness, you guys don't mind bringing up some more stuff, do you? Well, I tell you, you guys don't.
Facts.
You guys don't mind bringing up some more stuff.
Facts.
March 8th, 1964, shortly after returning from his trip to Mecca, Malcolm X leaves the Nation of Islam. March 8th, 1964. March 7th, 1965, Cleveland. Bloody Sunday at the Edmund Pettus Bridge halted the Selma to Montgomery March, which was the first of 3 marches that ultimately encouraged the Voting Act to be signed by Lyndon Johnson. I was just there. I was just in Selma this past weekend to celebrate the 59th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. Pretty interesting. It was bigger than I anticipated because I told you I went to Selma about a month ago. It was a bigger event than I anticipated, but still just kind of a very low budget event. But I walked across a bridge with probably 1,500 other people. The Masons were singing, the North Star group was singing. Very ceremonious event. It was pretty interesting. So that's why I didn't make it on Sunday, fans. March 6th, 1985. Kid made his boxing debut defeating Hector Mercedes in the first round. TKO. This kid went on to win 26 of his first 28 fights by KO or TKO. 16 of those came in the first round. Who was that kid?
That's Iron Mike Tyson.
Yes, Iron Mike Tyson. Yes, exactly. Where was the first time you heard of Mike Tyson?
Probably about the 12th fight. It was a few too many first round knockouts, and it just became must see TV. And then he kind of got it to the backstory kind of came with that, the Catskills and Cuss, and like the whole training regimen and the isolation and all that. It was a lot of mystique about Mike, not only just from the the devastating punching power, but just how he was brought along.
Yeah, when he was that even a fight? Was that even a fight, Boots?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, Mike was dominant. Another sad day, fans, is March 4th, 1990, when Loyola Marymount forward Hank Gathers collapsed on the court. Eventually passed away against the Portland Pilots. Excuse me. Yeah, that was a sad day for Hank Gathers, man. That was his Bo Kimball's tribute to Hank is shooting the free throws left-handed in that NCAA tournament was probably what I remember most about that situation. March 6th, 1991, Latasha Harlins, the unarmed 15-year-old girl, was shot by the Korean store owner over orange juice, and the Korean store owner got 5 years probation, $500 fine, and 400 hours of community service. That's what she got. Yeah, you talking about that?
Hank Gathers.
Yeah,
that
was crazy. But that Latasha Harlins, man, that was wild, bro. That was wild. The woman got $500 fine and 400 hours of community service, bro, with the 5 years probation. But yeah, this is a not a uplifting.
Not an uplifting week in history.
This week in history, man. But it is what it is, fans. This is what we bring to you. This is just going through this list was like, maybe I should focus on bringing some positivity. I don't know. I'm just trying to bring you just some history.
Can only bring what history gives us. So,
Ben Johnson, March 5th, 1993, Ben Johnson was banned from athletics for life for failing the drug test in 1993. And then, Cleveland, I'm sure you know where you were when you heard this news, is March 9th, 1997. A Notorious B.I.G. was killed in a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles. at the age of 24, dog. He was 24, dog. I mean, that does seem like a long time ago, but it's the trip that he was 24 when that happens. Like, where were you when you heard that situation?
I was in the car, but I just remember, and I don't even know how I feel about it as a grown man now. I just remember like the night before he was on the Soul Train Awards giving out an award. And my initial thought was, what would make this dude come to LA? Like, how does that even make sense? Not, but you're thinking about it like on a street level. You're not thinking about it like on a multi-millionaire, like
Well, they
artist type of thing. It's just like, just given the climate and how much beef there is, what would make you think it would be okay to come out here? And then day later, like, man, not like that's what you get, but like more like, man, I never thought that was a good idea, man. Who told you it was okay? Like,
yeah,
nobody warned you of like what could potentially happen. Like, did you just think you're bigger than what was going on?
Yeah,
it was weird.
Yeah, clearly they thought they were bigger than life. Yes, no reason not to think they were bigger than life. They had the whole record music industry. They certainly thought they were bigger than life. Had the new album coming out. Yes, they absolutely thought they were bigger than life.
And then the irony is the album's called what? Life After Death.
Man. Speaking into existence, man. Some of that's true, isn't it? I mean, wow, that was so I was living on the East Coast at the time. But because I was from the West Coast, like I didn't really transition like many people did. I didn't. So all I had was West Coast in my CD changer at the time. But that was like, that was wild. That was a wild moment in time. Those 90s was wild in music alone. that was a wild time in music alone. But yeah, that was a wild time. I heard about it, and I mean, music and video games I think it was Tecmo Bowl was Madden out. Madden was out by then, and I mean we must have played that album like 15 times on loop. That Life After Death. It was crazy, man. It was crazy, and yes, I totally blame. Puff was to blame on so many different levels, and we obviously know more about the situation than we did at the time. But yeah, it was, everybody was thinking like, dog, who do you think you guys are? like you're not Superman. Like, come on,
all places to be after all of this. Like, wait,
yeah, you're not Superman, and lo and behold, yeah. So fans, again, that must have had to be the most somberest this week in history that we've actually had on the show. But it was just some of the events that wanted to recall in history. Cleavon, what's your thoughts on this 14-team college football tournament? What's your thoughts? Are you with it?
Let's try the 12 first and see how it goes. I think that once we see the 12, that we'll understand there's really no need for 14. I mean, 1 versus 12 is going to be like a rout, man.
Well, the one is going to get a bye, right? The first 2 teams get a bye, so it would be 3 versus 12.
3 versus 12 is a rout, man. It is a rout. It does not need to be 3 versus 14, man.
Florida State, they get they play the game, but at least their backup quarterback gets to prove that he can play, right? And advance them into the.
Florida State's a 5. Last year the 3 was UW.
So top 4 teams.
Top 4 teams get a bye. Okay.
And so then Florida State gets
5-12. I think 5-12 is even still a little lopsided, man.
What
You
was
start
out?
to run out of teams really, really fast.
What was I know I'm going years back, but when Appalachian State beat Michigan, was Appalachian State wasn't even ranked when they beat Michigan, right?
Yeah, man, but that was like the first game of the season, and that was not in a playoff scenario.
I'm just trying to bring up that. I mean, that's what it's gonna be like, right? That's what
Oh,
we're
yeah.
going. That's
No,
the,
it's-
that's
it
the
would be
level
more
of
like it would be more like Georgia against UCF.
yeah. Or San Jose, or the Utah Utes, Georgia versus Utah Utes.
Yeah, or Purdue. It's going to be that type of thing. It's going to be like, oh, you sure?
Yeah, it's gonna be Florida State and Tulane. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those kind of games. Like, I mean,
And that's why I find it tough to watch college football to begin with, and then you're
so
gonna
if
get
you, so
that.
if you extended 2 more teams, it's like,
Yeah.
And plus, what I was hearing is that this is the part that I was a little bit concerned with is that like the season goes into like February, like the national championship is.
No, see, they're gonna have to stop that. They can't do that. They can't do that. The NFL is not. The NFL is gonna put a stop that immediately. Look, our playoffs start at the second week in January. You guys are gonna have to have this wrapped up by then. Like as soon as they go to the week 1 of the playoffs and they're playing on Saturday and Sunday, and the championship game is gonna be that Monday. Yeah, they're gonna have to stop that. So they get to what they're gonna
And
do.
so haven't you also like
December,
you've also eliminated like what 7 bowl games doing that?
Yeah, they're gonna eliminate bowl games. Or I mean, the bowl games just aren't gonna mean anything really. So you're gonna have the Gator Bowl, who if you're not part of that Power 5 or that conglomerate there, you're not the Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl,
or else they have to become part of
Miami
this part of the BCS, right? So it's like all of a sudden the Gator Bowl is the
with the Chick-fil-A Bowl, the Honolulu Bowl. Those
those ones are gonna
they're
not
not
gonna have
gonna
much
mean
talent.
anything. You're gonna get Oregon State versus Washington State in the Honolulu Bowl. And are you going to the Honolulu Bowl, Cleveland?
No, because I didn't attend either one of those universities. So no.
I mean, what university did you attend? I mean, if you want to put it out there.
University of Washington.
No, that's where we're gonna get. We're gonna get those games there. That aren't gonna mean absolutely nothing. But to those players and their families. I mean, that's all it's gonna mean.
So yeah, and the other thing about the 14 is so premature is that you even tried the 12 yet. So how do you know that doesn't work?
Well, they want, and it's not that it doesn't work or they don't think it will work, but they want guaranteed. The Power 5 teams want guaranteed money for their teams getting in there. Like they don't want to limit it to only 4 teams getting in because they want to make sure that 5th and 6th team can still get in and they can still get some money. It's your Big Ten. It's a Big Ten. It's a Big Ten and the SEC really driving this. So they want to make sure that their teams, their top teams get in definitely. Excuse me, and then maybe a few other teams. So you're Big Ten and are you Big Ten right now? Or are you Pac-12? What league are you guys in? I mean, we don't even know. Do you know?
Big Ten.
Oh, you're Big Ten today. You're a Big Ten. But 60 days ago you were Pac-10. What you don't even know what you don't even know.
Yeah, that's how that happened, Cam.
So what do you think about NCAA tournament, the hoop tournament, going from 64 teams, 68 teams, because they have their play-in tournament to 76 teams?
There's not enough talent to go around. The best players don't even go to college anymore.
You don't want PLU in the tournament?
No.
Why not give PLU a chance?
Because there's no point in it. There's not enough talent to make that happen. At least in college football, there's enough talent to actually go around. and the way that the portal works, it certainly will, everybody's playing fantasy football out here, right? Like who do I want? Where can I go? But who, not the same.
6 minutes 40 seconds. The Warriors are up. What 22 on Milwaukee. Hey, this dude, speaking of the Warriors, Przinski, this rookie from Santa Clara, Draymond hitting 3-pointers. Yeah, this is a bad look. The Przinski, have you seen this dude play? The rookie from Santa Clara? I'm surprised he's actually he's actually really balling, dude. I mean, they moved Clay to the bench, and this dude's actually balling. Leading teams with 14-50 losses in the tournament. This
is on top of the teams. This is on top of the teams that already win conference championships. All you're doing, right, is you're letting those teams that should have won their conference title get in. Those have to be the next. Yeah, those teams are some 12 and 18 team beats the 26-2 regular season champion. So now you gotta let the regular season champion in too. It's like, and you only have 8 spots for that. There's no need.
Yeah, I agree.
Players not that good anymore. So no.
I mean, they're extended, so that extends that now from a 3-week tournament to they're adding another week into that tournament.
Yeah. So now it's where you may still playing hoop. Yeah.
I mean, good. I mean, NBA playoffs hasn't really kicked off, so that's good. That's good TV watching, because that's when you. Boots, what are you doing? Boots, I asked this question earlier. I don't know if you responded, but what are you doing? Which bracket are you filling out this year, Boots? Are you filling out the women's bracket, or are you filling out the men's bracket? Which bracket are you filling out this year? Let us know, fans. If you chiming in, let us know on the chat, or let us know on Twitter. Which of the brackets are you filling in? Are you filling out the women's bracket, or are you or filling out the men's bracket? Because, I mean, how many men's games have you watched this season? Any of you guys?
I'm starting to get into it. I will be honest, like, until about the last 2 weeks, I had not really had the itch, but okay. I see you, Boots. I kind of feel the same way. And the reason I agree with Boots is because there's more cohesion on the women's side. There's more familiarity.
Yeah, you know who you're looking at.
I know who you're going, who you're selecting. But no, it just kind of comes to me, man. It's an itch, man. You kind of have to know, even though it's like, I don't know any of these players. You like, okay, let me sit down.
You're just picking schools. You're picking schools and a pedigree and a history. That's all you're doing.
Not necessarily. I'm actually watching games. I'm seeing what teams are not good at, and I'm seeing that some of these teams have a lot of losses, man. A lot of losses. 7, 8 losses.
And what we talked about earlier is how we're going to see Florida State and Tulane in these bowl games. Like, that's the reason I don't like college football. That reason right there, how they stack the deck, and especially when Alabama plays Rice. Like, I would never turn that game on. When Washington State, the Huskies play San Diego State. I mean, come on, I'm not interested in that. And that's what's going to be the first couple weeks of the tournament. Like, I'm not interested in that.
No, because it's
that's what it's going to be. I'm not
seeding goes into it. It's not the same.
What do you mean it's not the same? When we just talked about it's going to be the number 2 team playing the number 14 team that has 12 losses on a year. And so it's going to be the 22. What is Purdue right now? 23-3. They're going to end up playing a team with 13 losses.
No, that's what I'm saying. Purdue has like 6, 7 losses. They have a lot of losses.
Purdue with Edey?
Yeah.
Is Edey going to try to get a COVID year? Is he going to try to get a COVID year?
Nope, he got to come out. He used his year this year. He's coming out. He got to come out.
5 and a 9. Yeah, that's nasty, right? But yeah, 2 5 seeds. Yeah, that's nasty, right?
That lets you know it's
Edie
It's-
said he's coming out. I mean,
Yeah.
I
it lets know it's up in the air, right?
Edie's going to the G League. Edie's going to the G League. I mean, come on.
It's cold blooded. It's cold blooded, man.
I mean, come on now. You know, if you play 4 years in college nowadays, like your chances of being successful.
That doesn't make
Your chances of being successful in the
it doesn't make him
NBA.
any shorter though.
Okay, but he doesn't get any faster playing 4 years in
That's
college
okay.
basketball.
That's okay.
He didn't
Trust
get
me.
any quicker.
Trust me, somebody can use the Cat 7-3. That never goes out of style in the NBA.
Oh, really?
Really.
Where's the dude from Gonzaga? Where's the dude from Gonzaga last year?
Well, he wasn't 7-3. You talking about Timmy? Yeah, he wasn't
Where's
7-3.
Timmy at? Where's Timmy? Timmy played in summer league.
Timmy wasn't 7 feet 3 inches tall.
I mean, but Timmy had a post game though for you.
Yeah, so does Edie because he's 7 feet 3 inches tall.
Edie going to the Spurs.
Ooh, I like it. If they don't trade that for, huh, Boots?
Come on, man. Come on.
If they don't trade that for,
come on, Boots. I don't know about that one. They need a guard. They need a guard.
Make it.
Who can get Wemby involved.
That's new Tim and Dave right there. That's new Tim and Dave right there.
Oh. Who was Edie? Edie's not Tim or Dave. What are you talking about?
Edie would be more like Tim in this equation.
Oh, you cut it out. Cleveland.
How would he not be more like Tim? Wemby's the athletic big man, which would be more like Dave. Edie would be more like Tim. Look like a buffoon.
Come on,
look
man.
like a buffoon.
You're comparing Edie to Tim Duncan.
No, I didn't say that. I said this would
You
be
just said he would be more like Tim Duncan in that scenario. That's exactly what you said.
What I said was this would be the new Tim and Dave. You said, okay, so which one would be Tim and which one would be Dave? Well, Edie would be more like Tim.
I'm gonna let you take that. I'm gonna let you retract that from the. I'm gonna let you retract that from the recording.
Okay, so it's all hypothetical. So
I go edit it out. I'll go edit it out.
Retract it till it happens. Retract it till it happens.
You hear this? You hear what I'm dealing with, Boots? He just compared Edie.
And why didn't it?
To
I did not make that comparison. I said this is the
Shame on
new Tim and Dave. You asked who would be Tim and who would be Dave in this equation, and I said Edie would be more like Tim.
Man. So, what's your thoughts on Dartmouth unionization? Are they too late?
Yeah,
Are they too late doing this? Is this going to impact the NIL? Will this
should get overturned here pretty soon. Let's go to a higher court. And stop this.
Wait, hold on. You don't want the players to be unionized now? I mean, they should get a percentage of what they bring to the school. I'd agree with that. But NIL, just go for what you know.
What about those? So what about those sports that take losses every year? They got to pay.
So now the gymnastics squad got to pay to participate.
Yeah,
I mean there are league dues, right? I mean there are league dues. Oh, that'd be cold. that would be cold if the soccer squad had to pay at the league dues to pay their dues of $1,500 per player.
Yeah, bring your own fruit. Bring your own towels.
Oh my goodness, that would be cold. That would be cold. Wash your own uniforms.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good point. That is a good point, Cleveland. But that's only fair. If the Huskies, the football team, yeah, that's a good one. If the Washington Huskies football team brings in $10 million to the university per season, right? and the girls' cricket team costs them $100,000 per year. I mean, what are we doing here?
That's the whole problem with the NIL to begin with. It is top heavy, right? And it's not a fair break for the other.
But if they unionize it,
but even if they unionize it, what does that mean?
That the Huskies football team is going to get equity in pay in comparison to
Rome Odunze making the same amount of money as the ninth dude on the cross country team is not a fair thing.
No, well, the cross country team doesn't bring in the $10 million, so they can't ask for that same percentage. They can't get that.
But they're in a union. What can they ask for?
There have to be tiers in it. There has to be tiers within that union, because yes, dude being a starting receiver on the team that brings in the $10 million per season can't get the same.
It's not even the $10 million. At some of these schools,
I'm throwing it out.
Yeah,
I'm just whatever. I mean, I'm just using
but
that.
It becomes even more disproportionate depending on what the dominant sport is.
But again, there's still that comparison to the cross country runner, the freshman cross country runner. Yeah, and I saw somebody else put a tweet out that the freshmen should get like $400, the sophomore should get like $800, the junior should get like $1,200, the senior should get like $2,000 per season. But oftentimes these freshmen are generating more revenue than the junior, right?
Yeah.
So that's not a fair scale to go. And if you're a senior, like that senior should be compensated more conceivably, but because they're experiencing what they've been through, the amount of years they've been through.
See how complicated this has become already.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So what's a fair suggestion? What's your suggestion, Mr. Collard Boy?
I don't have an answer for this because it's always been an amateur sport that they paid under the table for what they wanted, and now that they brought it to above board, they have this problem because it can never be equal, and it will always be disproportionate in relation to what the dominant sport at your school is.
Did the Lakers lose to the Kings? Boots, you want to check up on that stats, Boots? I didn't get no update from you tonight, Boots. Did the Lakers just lose to the Kings? That's what I want to know. That's what I need an update on, Boots.
Oh boy.
Can I get that update? Can I get that update, Boots?
Is that a rhetorical question, Cam? Because otherwise he wouldn't have brought it up, I'm assuming.
I don't know. I'm doing the show right here.
Okay, but that game's not over yet. So
can I get that update, Boots?
There has been no conclusion to that game. I'm looking at it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just wondering. Boots was so quick to correct me last week and give me updates.
Slow your roll. Slow your roll, homie. It's been a loss at this point.
I just want to, be equity for everybody, right? Equitable for everybody, Boots. That's all I want. Who you a fan of, Boots? You a Bulls fan from Chicago? Are you a Bulls fan, Boots? Zach LaVine from the 206, so that's not a bad pick. But yeah, what do you think, Mr. Big Ten? What's your thoughts? How do you want to handle this? Do you want to go NIL?
Don't have an answer right now.
I'm fair with that. Well, I mean, come on, how many years you gonna take to figure this thing out? Well, I thought you were like a accountant, economy major. How many years we gonna take to figure this thing out?
It'll take some time. It's not going to be right away.
It's 2024. What are we waiting on?
They don't have NIL for
when you graduate? When you graduate, UW?
Psychology.
Huh? No. What year did you graduate from the UW?
Oh, I was 94.
30 years ago. 30 years ago. You haven't figured this shit out by now? I have to go somewhere else. We gonna have to go somewhere. We can't count on UW. Boots, we can't count on UW graduates to educate us. He said this took him 30 years and he still ain't figured it out. The players who bring in the most money. Did they win in 91?
It was
Did
a
they win
glorious
in
time,
91,
Boots.
or did they tie? Did they tie and was it co-champions, Boots?
No, they won the Rose Bowl and the national championship. Thanks for asking, Cam. Yeah.
Was that it? I think I remember it being a co-champions that year.
No. Your memory's distorted.
What do you mean? They was a co-champion? Because they didn't play much. They didn't play the Hurricanes that year. Excuse me.
Hurricanes played in the Orange Bowl. Huskies played in the Rose Bowl. Beat Desmond Howard and those guys.
Co-champ. Thank you, Boots. He would have never admitted. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It was. I think it was co-champions.
It was the Canes.
See, Boots. See, Boots. He didn't want to bring it up, Boots. Thank you, Boots. You're not bad, man. You're not so bad after all. You're not so bad because he didn't want to admit that. He was like, "No, we're national champion." He didn't even. He thought everybody else lost 3 games that season, which wasn't the case. Nonetheless, I digress. So, yeah, and I don't know what to do, man. I think the teams that generate the most money, they should get compensated for what they do. You bring up a fair point by saying, does the cross country team then have to provide their own shoes, have to wash their own uniform? I mean,
they're running a deficit, right? In comparison to what the revenue generating sport is.
So okay, we'll take 80%. We'll take 80% and then disperse the rest of the money. 80% will divide amongst the.
They already do that. How do you think all those other sports survive?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about. Well, you have to compensate the kids. Take the 80% and then those kids.
So what you're saying is that you have to compensate kids that don't generate any revenue
for the betterment of the school, to support the rest of the school and what it has going on, and for to give these other kids an opportunity to have the same success that the football team does, or the basketball team, or the baseball team. Yes, if for our chess team, for our cross country team, for our wrestling team, for us to have maintained some competitiveness in amongst the other schools in the conference. Yes, you guys have to compensate these guys, and to do that, we're paying you guys 70 to 75%.
Yeah, it sounds like you haven't thought this all the way through.
I did. I just explained it to you.
It's kind of complex, man. But
it is. It's a complex situation,
bro. I appreciate your efforts there. Yeah, because that didn't make a lot of sense either. But that's cool.
So you just want the football team to generate. If they generate most of the money, if they generate 95% of the money that the university makes, you want them to have 95% of the funds. Is that what you're saying?
No, not necessarily. I think it should be a trickle down effect, which is how it's always been. The NIL is just an extra. The NIL is just a way of paying the players legitimately, as opposed to
that NIL's money is not coming from the schools. That's not coming from the schools. That had nothing to do with the schools bringing.
You don't think that they put those people in
place? That's the boosters and the collectives. No, that's their.
Okay, so who do you think goes out and gets those people that are contributing to that?
What do you mean? Who goes out and gets? Those are alumni. That's not the schools. The schools aren't funding that money. To my understanding, the
schools are pointing them in the right direction. Cam. The schools and the alumni.
Huh?
The schools and the alumni are doing that. Yeah.
The alumni, more so, in their booster clubs, their booster unions. Yes, yes, they're drumming up a lot of money. Yes, they are. But I don't think the schools. I don't know. I don't know per se. I haven't seen that money come across my desk, so I'm just going on I'm just speculating. NIL deal. Talking about NIL deal. If Caitlin doesn't win a year, Caitlin Clark, I'm talking about. If she doesn't win a ring this year, Cleveland, How will you look upon her college career?
As storied.
Ring or not, huh?
Yeah, notice I said storied. I didn't say like she had the greatest career in the
I
history.
know. I noticed how you classified it. I noticed how you classified it. So, do you expect her to ring a ring?
No.
Do you have any more hopes now that she continue to set records and get all this recognition? Do you think have any I don't know. I probably won't feel like
I think I will. I without looking too tough into it, Boots, I would have South Carolina cutting down the Nets.
Yeah, I'll do one just for the show, Boots. That's it. But other expecting to win and knowing and doing one, I can't base it on it. I would have more knowledge of women's basketball than certainly the men's brackets. Like I watched more women's basketball this year than the men's college men's hoop. So I'll do one just for the show, Boots. And because I'm a competitor, because I'll likely win. You know, you can talk to us in April as I have another pound of tri-tip with my chow chow because I'll be winning that one for sure. Caitlin Clark, you said storied, huh? You don't expect her to win?
No.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Again, South Carolina might win. Is expected to win it all because of Don Staley and that conglomerate they got going on there. LSU is falling off a little bit, taking a step back, so they won't be. But there'll be obviously some upsets, but we'll see it. We'll have some fun with it nonetheless. Do you anticipate her being Caitlin Clark? I'm talking about Diana Taurasi. Like, what type of career is she gonna have in the NBA? Anescu, do you want to see her and Anescu shoot it out in the 3-point contest next season?
I'm not saying that she's gonna have like a career like that.
Well, I'm saying, do you want to see her should they schedule that to be an All-Star game? Her and
I think that would be a little bit premature. She hasn't played a WNBA game yet, so
okay. I mean, they didn't waste no time to get Anescu out there though. Will they funnel? Because the WNBA, they don't even hide the fact that they have the frozen ping pong balls. They don't even hide that fact. So, will she end up in where will she end up? Will she end up with the Indiana Fever?
I believe that's how it's looking at present. I mean, I don't know.
They'll do. I mean, they probably got those jerseys already printed up, just so they can get those fans going to Indiana, right?
I mean, it would be ideal for them, for the league, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they didn't even hide the fact that Anescu was going to New York. Yeah, we need a star in New York right now. And oh, look what happens. We get New York Liberty get the first pick of the draft. Oh, just so happens, right? And then how the Las Vegas Aces that they started. Oh, Las Vegas Aces, all of a sudden they have 3 of the top players in the WNBA. Oh, what do you know? They win the championship. Oh my goodness. Oh, come on, guys. Come on. Yeah, exactly. Ticket sales in there.
They have the greatest chance. I mean, probably
got jerseys printed up. Yeah, probably got jerseys printed up and everything. Yeah, they're getting ready for it. In a couple weeks, we're gonna have Keith Thurman versus Tim Tszyu. They have the press conference tomorrow, actually, so they can hear what Keith Thurman has to talk about. But all the talks have recently been about Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. They had their two tour, one in New York, one in LA, press conference last week. Ryan Garcia, if I haven't mentioned this before, Ryan Garcia talked his way into this fight. and now Ryan Garcia is might be going loopy. According to our reports, we don't know what's going on with Ryan. Do you expect to see Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney fight April 20th in Brooklyn?
Do I expect the fight to happen, or am I going to be watching?
Do you expect? Go ahead, either one.
I'm not. If it happens, I'm not going to be watching it now. It's not must-see TV for me by any stretch of the imagination.
I mean, but you're casual. Devin Haney. I mean, if it were to happen, Devin Haney's going to wash him. But Ryan Garcia has talked his way into this fight, and so it's going to be. That's the reason it's gonna have a draws, because Ryan Garcia and his fans are going to tune in to watch him beat Devin Haney. However, Ryan really has no chance to beat Devin. So, but Ryan Garcia is already admitted to not doing crack, but he says all I do is drink and smoke weed in his off time, and so. Then in the video the next day, he says, I do more than drink and smoke weed because I do run. I couldn't have a 6-pack like this by just drinking and smoking weed. Okay, Ryan, you're 26 years old, bro. I think he's 25 years old. Okay, Ryan, come on. And then the next day, Ryan Garcia. I don't know if you saw it though. Ryan Garcia rode to the press conference in Los Angeles on a horse. Because the horse couldn't get into the venue, obviously, Ryan had some dudes carry him into the venue behind a bunch of ladies and in circus outfits. So Ryan is really trying to put on a show.
And you want me to watch this?
I mean, when it comes down to it, it's going to be boxing. Like I said, Devin Haney is going to watch him. Regardless of how Ryan comes to the ring with his head on. But Ryan is putting on a show outside of the ring. And that's the funny part. Is if Ryan was 100% healthy, he was going to get washed by Devin Haney. Just let's make this abundantly clear. However, he didn't deserve to be in the fight. He didn't deserve to be in the fight with Tank Davis, but he talked his way into this fight. And this is what he's done now. He's talked his way into this fight.
Good talker.
Hey, give him credit for being able to talk his way into
I would have to think that it must be a little bit more about marketability.
That has something to do with it. That certainly
Otherwise,
has something.
How would you be able to talk yourself into 2 championship fights?
Especially
after losing the first one so badly.
Again, it shouldn't be a fight. It should not be a fight. The fight should not be happening. I will say that.
Sometimes people have a following that, supersedes their talent and whether they should be in the fight or not.
Well, yeah, because he's done the cognac commercials. He's a social media maven, and that's why it is a fight. That's how he was able to get into the other fight, saying I'm the draw. That's how he can tell Tank Davis. Again, he was telling Tank Davis that he was the draw going into that fight. So what did that tell you? You, casual boxing fan, never heard of Ryan Garcia, but at least you've been to a Tank fight. You're familiar with Tank. You've been to a Tank fight. And he's telling Tank that he was the draw going into that fight. So that's how, I won't say clueless.
No, it's not delusional. That's what the numbers.
That's the exact word for it. Delusional. That's exact word.
No, because that's what the numbers reflect.
What do you mean? That's what the numbers reflect.
Otherwise, why? You just said he didn't just talk his way into the fight. Promoters don't just promote the fight because you're.
De La Hoya is his promoter.
They look at who you bring to the fight, how many eyeballs are going to be on it, and that is not necessarily reflective of your talent.
It is clearly not reflective of his talent. Yeah, so Devin Haney Ryan Garcia talked his way into the fight, but Ryan Garcia claimed he lost his phone the other day. Somebody recorded him. I can't get into my phone. I can't get into my bank accounts. I'm lost. Looked like he was at a bus station. I'm lost. I'm disheveled. But fans, I believe in God and I'll be okay. Like, come on. Like he's totally putting on a show outside of the ring. But yeah, the fight may not go on. It actually may not go on, in all seriousness. What's the biggest story, real quick, Cleveland, before we get out of here? What's the biggest story of training camp? Is it Ohtani going 0 for 3 against the Angels? What's the biggest story of the offseason of the Major League Baseball spring training?
I can't think of a major storyline with regards to training spring training. It's just one of those things, you know. I think to this point that some of the top flight pitchers haven't been signed. I think that's kind of a storyline. Blake Snell and I believe one other top tier pitcher hasn't been signed. They're going to have to be signed pretty soon. There hasn't been any major injuries to this point. That's a good thing. That's a positive sign. And that the Yankees are not the favorites. I think those are the biggest stories coming out of spring training so far.
What do you what's up with the Seattle Mariners? I mean,
they're going to be average.
54 wins. 54 wins. They're
54% of the wins.
54%. So we're looking at what, 60 wins?
No, we're looking at 80, 84, and 78, somewhere in there.
You say that with such confidence, Cleveland. You say it with such.
No, I mean they're better than a 500 team, but they're not way better than a 500 team, and they play in probably arguably the most competitive division in baseball. So they have tremendous pitching. They don't have tremendous hitting. They put way too much pressure on their 22-year-old superstar to do everything. They have an owner that is claiming that they're broke, and that's just not a cool thing for the owner of a professional franchise.
Man, this is totally 2 years ago. You predicted the Mariners before the season started. At the end of the last season, predicted the Mariners would go to the playoffs. I mean, and you were so excited about the Mariners, Cleveland. You were so excited, and you were over the moon. And now, less than a season and a half later, you just sound so disgusted with it's training camp when everybody's supposed to be high and hopeful about what the season that's coming ahead of them, and you sound so disgusted. What gives?
Well, Cam, as we kind of make that transition from football to baseball, it's spring training. It's not training camp. And they haven't, like I said, they haven't made the move they're supposed to make.
Don't try to hit me with these nuances. You understand exactly what I'm talking about. And don't get mad at me. Don't be frustrated with me. I'm just asking.
We have fans worldwide. We have fans worldwide. And before you start bashing my Mariners, I'm just saying, can you at least, stay on the right sport? It's not training camp. It's spring training.
See, fans, you see how salty he is? Cleveland's been salty all night. He's been salty all night. I bring up the Mariners now he's ready to get off the show.
Spring training, at least call it spring training. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know what to do, Boots. This guy been salty all night, man. I sure hope the wife got a nice tall glass of cold beer for you. Did she put the beer in the fridge? Did she at least put the beer in the fridge so you can get a cold beer when you get off the show?
Yes, still on ice.
Oh my goodness. So, fam, I'm gonna end it right now because he don't want to talk about the Mariners. I was trying to give him a chance to spout the virtues of the Seattle Mariners, the team that he roots for religiously. Just being honest, that sounds like disappointment. That sounds like I see.
I am disappointed in the fact that they haven't made more off-season moves. I am disappointed in the fact that the owner is claiming to be broke and needs the franchise to make money for him to be solvent. It's like that's not the city's responsibility. It's like you're this close to having a World Series caliber team, and you just won't take that next step. I mean,
this close.
So we just have to wait.
This close. When you say this close, how close are we? How close are we now?
They were a half a game out of making the playoffs last year against a team that ultimately won the World Series.
Hey, well, I say you guys support the owner. Go to the stadium down there in Soto. Go eat some more crickets.
Don't
go eat some more of those chocolate
he'll
crickets.
lose even more money and be forced to sell to someone who can actually afford a professional baseball team.
I mean, come on, you got Nintendo. Nintendo ran the team for some years, man. You guys still weren't any good. So now don't blame. Don't say a rich owner is a deciding factor. I mean,
that's true. I'm watching your Clippers. That's true. I'm watching your Clippers right now, and clearly, the wealth of the owner doesn't always translate into wins.
Here you go. Would the Clippers be in the playoffs? Would the Clippers be in the playoffs? Since you want to bring them up, would the Clippers be in the playoffs?
Yeah, is that their goal? To be in the playoffs?
We could just start there. You can't win a championship if you're not in the playoffs, right?
That's true.
Just so would the Clippers be in the playoffs?
Right.
So I mean, let's start right there. That owner never talked about we just want to win 54% of our games and the fans should be happy with it.
That's true.
That owner never said anything like that.
Right.
Okay.
But you misunderstood what I was saying. I was saying just because we have a rich owner doesn't mean that we're going to win, more games. And you're right. Clippers being a perfect example of that.
That's some saltiness, boy. I tell you, now you try to throw pull somebody else down because you're down. Like I don't know what type of fandom that is. Fans, who are going to lead the show? I guess our This Week in History really got Cleavon down. That segment really got Cleavon down because he's not been in a good mood. It started before then, but that really set him off. My bad, Cleavon. My fault. I apologize, sir. This is the second time I'm apologizing to you for tonight because you just ain't been happy. Boots, thank you for tuning in.
Thanks, Boots. Appreciate it, bro.
Give yourself a round of applause, Boots, okay? Cleveland, I had to apologize to this guy twice tonight, fans. I don't know what's going on tonight. He just been salty. Don't take it out on a wife. That's all I got to say. Don't take it out on a wife, man. She's a cool girl, okay? Here's the quote I'm going to leave you guys with again. We do things a little differently on this podcast, and Not Other Shoes is going to give you the numbers game that we play that's different each and every week. We're not many shows are going to give you This Week in History segment, just kind of give you a history lesson of some of the things that happened in this week and years prior to. And then I'm going to end the show with the quote that kind of give you some inspiration to make it through the week. Hopefully, Cleveland will take this as some inspiration and kind of carry him through the week and not be so upset and edgy with his coworkers because of what's going on when I bring up the Mariners and we talk about some of the facts like his college team. Try to tell me they won a national championship. Didn't want to admit that it was a co-championship.
They did win a national championship.
Again, fans, I'm sorry. Okay, man. Settle down, Cleveland. Settle down, man. We're having a show, man. We're entertaining the fans. Thank you guys, fans, for tuning in, by the way. Here's the quote I'm going to leave you guys with all this week. In a crisis, don't hide behind anything or anybody. They're going to find you anyway, right? In a crisis, don't hide behind anything or anybody. They are going to find you anyway. That's from the late, great Bear Bryant. So you can't hide from anything. You just got to take things head on, Cleveland. You can't hide or run from anything, any turmoil that happens. It's going to happen anyway, okay? So when I hit you with facts, you can't run from the facts that I bring to you, okay? They're going to hit you anyway, big.
That's great advice, Cam, from the late, great Bear Bryant. Cool.
Fans, want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Give yourself a round of applause. Give Cleavon a round of applause for tuning in. Cleavon, let the people know where they can find you.
At Clevie Wonder on Twitter, Cleavon Still on Instagram, and Clevie Wonder on TikTok.
Oh, he's on TikTok now. Look at him. Look at him growing. Thank you guys. You guys can find all of our work on voiceofthefans.org. All our work from the YouTube page to the podcast, episodes of the podcast here. You can find our articles that we write, giving you content each and every week. So you can find our fresh articles there. Voiceofthefans.org. I encourage you guys to check out the website, voiceofthefans.org. Again, you can find all of our content there. Thank you guys for tuning in, fans. Give yourself a round of applause for being a part of the show. And as always, thank you guys for making our voice your choice.